Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel.
Sinking like stones. Go, 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 go! Places we've gone, all of us are done for.
Unemployment rising. Americans are looking for necessary change.
We live in a beautiful world.
Parties are rising as a substitute.
Yeah, we do, yeah, we do. We live in a beautiful world. We've grown, all of us are done for, and we live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do, yeah, we do. We live in a beautiful world.
In that day the Lord with his sword and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. In that day sing ye unto her a vineyard of red wine.
Who is this that cometh from Edom, with dyed garments from Bosra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the winepress? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury. And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come.
Cause here everybody here's got somebody to lean on.
Shalom Akim. First and foremost, want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Hara HaKadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone. Shalom to sincere brethren out there pushing this word, and to you sincere listeners. You know, I just want to go into a lesson real quick, dealing with this, you know, and what you see right here. This is a tweet, you know, which shows, you know, them Falasha Jews, you know, them Cushites, okay? rising up against the so-called Jew out there in the land of Israel. All right. This is all biblical prophecy. And this is just another sign that, the so-called white man, the red Hebrew Edomite as a whole is going down. Okay. He's being revealed at this time, and these nations are rising up against him. Okay. And they're getting tired of the treatment that he's been dishing out. Okay. So, as you can see, it says hashtag Black Lives Matter. Now, Israeli Jews of Ethiopian descent blocked the busiest thoroughfare in the country to protest state racism and police brutality. Okay, so pretty much everybody's rising up against you red Hebrew Edomites, man. Okay, because this wouldn't have happened, a few years back. Okay, and the reason why this is happening, first and foremost is because the word of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is going out. Okay, and with the word going out, okay, these other nations, they're hearing about who you really are, and they're waking up, man. Okay, they're waking up to the fact that you're the devil. Okay, and it really all stems from, the prophets going out on the highways and hedges. Okay, so this is 2 Thessalonians 2:3. All right, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed." Okay, and the so-called white man is being revealed. Okay, and how is he being revealed? By the prophets going out on the highways and hedges. Okay, because we're the real threat to, the rulership of the red Hebrew Edomite. Okay, because we come out with the truth, and his whole society is based upon lies. Okay, so once those lies start getting torn down, okay, then these other nations, they see him for what he is too. Okay, he's supposed to be, the bastion for, human rights on the earth, but he's the devil, man. Okay, and now even these, docile ass Cushites are waking up to that fact, man. Okay, and they getting at, the so-called Jew some kind of way, man. Okay, after years of them being over there, and not being treated, equally as a Jew, which they're not Israelites either. Okay, those Ethiopian so-called Jews, they're transplants. Okay, they go back to when the Syrian Empire took over the northern kingdom and put transplants in there. All right. Nevertheless, this is all biblical prophecy. Okay, the more this word goes out, see, which that's you red Hebrew Edomites. Okay, you putting the word out. Okay, you pushing the word out or publicizing it. Okay, whether you demonize it or you actually allow the truth to come out, it's a two-edged sword on you, man. Okay, because you putting that on Fox News, that allows the word to go worldwide. Okay, and all these other nations, okay, real quick. Let me get there real quick. All these other nations, they're waiting for the Israelites to wake up, man. All right, this is Romans 8:19. Okay, it says, "For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High." Okay, and that's what's going on. Okay, every creature is waiting for the manifestation of that, man. Okay, because they know in their spirit that when the Israelites come into power, okay, that order is going to be established back down here on the earth, man. Okay, all the creation is crying out to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai to reinstall the proper rulers. Okay, so with the word being pushed out to the four corners of the earth, okay, and you so-called you red Hebrew Edomites, okay, you pushing that word, putting it on your platforms, that's getting to a new audience, man. Okay, which when these other nations here, they already know who we are. Okay, so that's going to cause them to rise up against you, man, because they know that your time is done. Okay, so continuing on, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first." And that falling away was talking about us, getting taken down during the time of 70 AD. Okay, and also being taken down during the Renaissance period. Okay. It says, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed. And he's being revealed at this time. That's why all these nations are rising up against him. Okay? And who's the one that's pinpointing who this devil is, man? The Israelites out there on the highways and hedges. We're the one pinpointing who he really is, man. He's a red Hebrew Edomite. Okay? The son of perdition. That word perdition means destruction. Okay? It says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Okay, remember not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in this time. Yeah, so that's why these things weren't going on. Okay, that's the reason why he was able to, have the upper hand when it comes to dealing with these other nations. Okay, that's the reason why he was able to get the upper hand when he was dealing with the Chinese, the Japanese, the East Indian, the Hamites. Okay, these, so-called Falasha Jews. Okay, which Falasha means false, by the way. Okay, that's the reason why he had the upper hand, because they actually believed the bullshit that he told them, man. Okay, when he went throughout the four corners of the earth, okay, and he was conquering these nations, he pushed upon them that red Hebrew Edomite supremacy doctrine, which, was forefronted by that red Hebrew Edomite depiction of the son of the Most High, man. Okay, so he put it in these nations' mind that, oh, look, if you want to get closer to the Most High, you want to get closer to God, you got to follow, you got to bow down to me, you got to follow me. Okay, and whatever I do to you, you have to accept it. Okay, because that's in these nations' mind, because that's exactly what we're going to do. All right, we're going to go throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, they're going to see that the Most High is with us, and whatever we do, they're going to have to get in line. But the difference between what we're going to do and what the so-called white man did is that he's a complete devil. Okay, this red Hebrew Edomite, the Most High is not dealing with him. Okay, so now these nations, they're waking up, and they seeing that they got duped, and they pissed off, man. So now they rising up against the red Hebrew Edomite. All right, it says, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in this time. This is the time that he's being revealed. Okay, it says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And that's the time that we living in. Okay, that's why you're seeing all these uproars going on. All these nations rising up against the red Hebrew Edomite, man. Okay. Why? Because we're in the time of the downfall of the red Hebrew Edomite, man. Okay, he's going down. Okay. And it all began with the prophets going out on the highways and hedges and declaring this man's way to his face. Okay. And pushing that vibration out that he's done, man. His rulership is over. Okay. So what the Most High is doing, he's stirring up adversaries against this man. Okay. It says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he whom now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Verse 8, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed. And he's being revealed, man. Everybody's seeing this red Hebrew Edomite for what he really is, man. He's the devil. He's not a child of the Heavenly Father. Okay, he's not, he wasn't set up to do the will of the Most High, the will of the Creator. Okay, he destroys everything, man. Okay, the most violent nation on the earth is the red Hebrew Edomite. The most violent and hateful nation is the red Hebrew Edomite, man. Okay, and these nations, they're sick and tired of the hell that you've been putting on them, man. Okay, just like the nation of Israel is sick and tired of all the hell that you've been putting on us. Okay, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. And what's the spirit of the Lord's mouth? The prophets, man. Okay, so you've been consumed by the prophets. Okay, and that's the reason why all these things are going down. All right. That's why these other nations are rising up against you. Okay, because the word has went out. All right, this is Hosea 6:5 that says, therefore have I hewed them by the prophets. Okay, and you red Hebrew Edomites, you've been thoroughly hewed by the prophets of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, it says, I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. Okay, so once the word comes out, then the judgment starts to follow, man. Then the Most High starts to make things happen. Okay, and this word has been going out, really since, 1969, 1970, okay, when the Elder Abba came on the scene, but it's been, getting pushed out throughout the airwaves, okay, on the internet since 2007, man. Okay, and now it's just a wildfire. There's nothing you Edomites can do about it, man. Okay, you red Hebrew Edomites, there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, and the more the word goes out, the more judgment is gonna come upon you. The more these other nations are gonna rise up against you, man. Okay, which is the reason why I say it's a two-edged sword. All right, because here it is, when you put the word out there, you condemning more people. Okay, and you also spreading the word. Okay, which is further gonna bring your society down, man. This is beautiful. Call Allah, Yom Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, there's nothing you red Hebrew Edomites can do to stop this thing, man. Okay, everything you do that you try to do against the truth, it backfires on you, man. Now you got them bugged out ass Cushites rising up against you, man. Okay, it says. Back in 2 Thessalonians 2:8, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. Okay, and that's talking about when the chariots come back down here to destroy you and to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, so I'm gonna just hit a few more precepts and then I'm gonna wrap it up. Okay, this is Job 20 and 27. Okay, it says the heaven shall reveal his iniquity. Okay, and how is the heaven revealing your iniquity? Okay, through the internet, man. All right, the same thing, you know, that you thought was going to be another propaganda tool for you. Okay, is your downfall. Okay, and even that devil, I forget his name, was one of the Rockefellers. He said we should have never invented the internet. Okay, we should have never allowed the internet to gain this kind of popularity, man, because this is what's bringing you down. Okay, this is Psalms 19:1. It says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, the heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. Okay, and you can go on the internet at any time of the day, okay, and look up the videos, man. Okay, and then what, you know, Fox News doing what they did, that's a world recognized news station, man. Okay, who knows, maybe a couple of them them Cushites out there in Israel, okay, maybe they seen it and then that got them roused up, man. Okay, so it said the heavens declare the glory of the Lord, the glory of the Most High, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. Okay, there is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Yeah, you could put closed captions on the videos, okay, to you know, loosely interpret what brothers are saying. Okay, it said their line is gone out throughout all the earth. Okay, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. Okay, so that's how you're being revealed, man, through the internet. Okay, and day to day, night to night, you are getting exposed, man. You red Hebrew Edomites are getting exposed. Okay, which is causing what? Back in Job 20 and 27, okay, it said the heavens shall reveal his iniquity and the earth shall rise up against him. Okay, and that's exactly what's going on, man. All right, all the nations are rising up against him because he's being revealed. Okay, he's not a white man. Okay, he's not a European. He's not a Jew. Okay, he's not German. He's not Spanish. He's not Norwegian. Okay, he's not an Afrikaner. He's not a Boer. Okay, he's not an Aussie. Okay, he's a red Hebrew Edomite, man. And all these nations are finding this out. Okay, and they're rising up against you. All right, so with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Hara HaKodash, double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone. Shalom.
Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the elect scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. My name is Amon Gabar, back with another lesson, Lord willing, to edify and to feed the lambs of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai through the Holy Spirit, Rakakwadash. Alright, now, this is going to be a quick lesson, Lord willing, to edify the elect of the nation of Israel. And what you see here in the image on the screen is a picture of the Gadite, alright, the so-called Native American Indian, part of this controversy, alright. And what you see here in the image on the screen is a picture of the Gadite, the so-called Native American Indian, part of this controversy, alright. And what you see here in the image on the screen is a picture of the Gadite, the so-called Native American Indian, part of this controversy, alright. Nathan Phillips. All right, and this is the music video he did with Skrillex and Damian Jr. Gang Marley. Now this was sent to me, or this was noted. This was this message here on this comment board was sent to me by a subscriber. His name is The Return of Yahweh Shai. All right, and he pointed out something powerful in his video that I didn't even notice, and probably a lot of brothers didn't even notice. Okay, and what you see there in the circle to the right of this guy, Nathan Phillips, is an owl. All right, that's an owl right there, as you see. Okay, that's an owl. And we know how the elites move. We know how the Illuminati, the rulers of the society, we know how they move. Their symbol is the all-seeing eye, the owl, the pyramid. These are all Illuminati gestures and, you know, things pertaining to that, to the dark side, the left-hand side of this world. All right, so the brother says, Salaki for not commenting on this yesterday, but I noticed that there's an owl on the left side of Nathan Phillips. Look like it's supposed to be hidden in plain sight, which he's absolutely right about that. Hidden in plain sight. That's exactly what it means. Reminding me of the wicked elite, more specifically the Bohemian Grove. Shalom, Ake Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Waharakakudash, Barakatah, Tamyad. Alright? Now here you have an owl next to Nathan Phillips, and this is not coincidence. Alright, so when we were saying that this guy is a paid actor from the news and information that we came across, the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai was alerting us on this guy, man. Alright? We don't just say things just to say it. Alright, the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai works through his men to say certain things. Alright? Now this guy is definitely a paid actor, man. Definitely a paid actor. And this goes to show you that the elites is behind, you know, this whole thing. Okay? The elites are behind this whole thing. So, Lord willing, with that, I want to get some scriptures. Let me start off in the book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and 15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? Alright, that's the elites. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, the Illuminati. It means enlightened ones. Alright, to be illuminated means to be enlightened. Okay, now the power of the Illuminati was in their secrecy. Alright, the fact that no one knew who were the shadow government. Alright, who were behind pulling the strings. That was their power. That was their power. Alright, now one thing about an owl, the way an owl is created, they're nocturnal. Alright, they're nocturnal animals. And an owl can see through the darkness. Alright, that's why the Illuminati, they use the symbol of the owl, because an owl sees through the darkness. An owl hunts in the dark. Okay, when you watch images and videos of owls, they see through the darkness. They hunt during the dark. Alright, they have some type of eye salve, you know, if you may, that allows them to see in the dark. Alright, hunt in the dark. Okay, now the Illuminati, they claim to see through the dark, and the dark is his world. The darkness is his world, and they see through the darkness. So on that note, the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushai are also illuminated, man. Alright, because the elect can see through the darkness of this world as well. This is a battle between the left hand and the right hand. So it says, woe unto them, which means death unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, the elites, and their works are in dark. Alright, the elites, everything they do is in dark. Alright, they use the media to bring out their agenda. And they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? But the Most High is revealing the elites, because they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? The Most High does. And that shows you that the Heavenly Father is working with his men. Alright, because the Most High sees these elites, and the Most High is the one that's revealing him by the mouthpiece of his prophets. This is Jeremiah 49 and 10. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret parts, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbor, and he is not. Alright, now when you make something bare, you reveal it. Okay, so the Most High is making Esau bare, which Esau is the so-called white man, the elites of the society. All right, Esau, the Edomites, the Most High is making you bare. He's uncovering your secret places. He's revealing your agenda. Okay, he's revealing your agenda. It says, and he shall not be able to hide himself. You cannot hide yourself anymore. All right, this is your end. This is the end, man. All right, and everything must be revealed before your destruction. All right, because you being revealed is part of your destruction. All right, so this whole thing over there with them kids wearing the mega hat, all right, and this guy Nathan Phillips, that whole thing was a setup. The whole entire thing was a setup, man. Everything was a setup in that plot, man. All right, and we can see that because we know how these elites move. We know. All right, we know how they move. It says, but I've made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. All right, Esau, you cannot hide yourself anymore, man. His seed is spoiled, and he and his brethren and his neighbor, and he is not. All right. So this is next scripture I want to get is Psalm 64:1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O God. In my prayer, preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of workers of iniquity. All right, King David is asking the Heavenly Father to hide him from the secret counsel of the wicked. As we do, we ask the Lord to hide us from the secret counsel of the wicked. What's that secret counsel? That secret society. All right, the secret society. And everything that's going about in this world is leading towards the agenda of the secret society, aka the elites. All right, this new world order, this new world agenda. All right, wherein the elites want to microchip everyone that's on this earth. Okay. So it says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. That's part of the agenda, the microchip. That's a major part of it. All right. And a lot of things that are going on right now through Hollywood is a part of that secret counsel. All right. To bring forth a greater agenda. So it says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongues like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. All right, because the things they speak, all right, all right, these elites is pretty much all against Israel. All right, all against Israel. Everything they do and say is geared towards the destruction of Israel. It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? And that's what they do. The scriptures say that the Esau is wiser than Daniel. And the way Esau got this system set up is all about trapping Israelites. It's all about trapping Israelites so that Israelites do not persevere, which we weren't meant to persevere here in Babylon. All right, so everything that they do is a trap. And Jake don't even know it. You try to tell Jake this, which Jake is Israel. You try to tell Israel this. Israel don't want to hear it. You know, they falling for the snares and the traps of Esau. You know, so Esau, the elites, they encourage themselves in evil matter. All right, they commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? The Lord is going to see it. All right, and the Lord is going to reveal it unto his men. Okay, it says they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them, the heart is deep. Okay, now the Heavenly Father had made Esau wiser than Daniel. All right. Why is that? Because this agenda, all right, it needs to come forth, okay? Esau needs to be destroyed. Esau needs to be destroyed. The scriptures say, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. All right, so when he's about to fulfill this new world order, the Most High is gonna bring him down. Okay? Most High is gonna bring him down when he's about to fulfill his new world order agenda, his plot. All right. So that last scripture I have is the book of Jeremiah 23, and I'll start at 23. It says, am I a God at hand, saith the Lord, and not a God afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places, that I shall not see him? Saith the Lord, do not I fill heaven and earth, saith the Lord? And the answer is no. No one can hide himself from the Heavenly Father. Everything that is done in the dark shall come to the light. All right, everything that's done in the dark shall come to the light, man. You know, and that's how the Heavenly Father is doing things, man. You know, he's revealing Esau day by day. All right, and proof of that is this whole news coverage with this whole controversy that's taking place that hit the news, you know, even with Israelites being aired on major news networks, everything the Lord is bringing a revelation to day by day. All right, because there's no secret left that should not be revealed, man. So anyway, I'm going to end that there. Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. Till next time, I want to say shalom.
Turning now to the group that instigated the Covington incident, the Black Hebrew Israelites. Here they are in Washington, D.C., yelling at the high school students.
Let's make America great again. A bunch of child molested.
Look at all these dusty crackers with that racist garbage on. Look
The future school shooters.
That's right.
A bunch of incest babies. Biggest terrorist on the face of this earth is the pale-faced man, woman, and child.
The Black Hebrew Israelites are described as a black nationalist hate group with militant overtones. They believe blacks are the true descendants of the biblical Israelites, and many of their sects are anti-white. Joining me now, Katriel Ben Israel, a former teacher at Kol Sharit B'nai Nas Israel. I don't think I got the pronunciation exactly correct, but I did my best. Now, you heard the sound coming from people in your organization yelling at these high school students. Do you think that was appropriate? So you condemn these people that were hurling that kind of hateful language at the students?
Well, I don't know if it's quite hateful.
It wasn't quite hateful. Crackers, incest babies, child molesters. What do you consider that, love? What's that message, though? That's a hateful message.
That's their style.
That's their style, and it's pretty hateful. Come on, you're a smart man.
I'm not hateful. I'm an Israelite, but I'm not hateful.
Okay, well, that was pretty hateful. I think you would agree that was hateful language?
There's a lot of hate in America that's not really initiated by what you want to say Israelite groups like that.
But you wouldn't agree with me that that was hateful language directed at the Covington boys by this black Israelite group?
I don't know what initiate that. What did the confrontation bring forth?
Okay, listen, I haven't seen all of the video. I've just seen what was said to the Covington boys. We didn't see anything coming from the other side directed at the black Israelites. Is there a problem right now with the black Israelites? Are they angry at something specific? What's the beef?
Rap music raising eyebrows in Wicomico County. Songs containing racially offensive language found online are now being investigated by the Wicomico County Board of Education. The song certainly caught the attention of students at Mardella Middle and High School. As WBOC's Brooke Reese reports, school officials are trying to determine the origin of those songs and the motive behind them.
From Chopper 16, this is Mardella Middle and High School. Wicomico County public school officials tell WBOC students at the school alerted their teachers about the songs. An individual posted 3 songs on the internet under the name Lil Plantation. The songs were titled Whips Don't Hurt Them, Whip Hands Free, and All Slaves Are the Same. WBOC was able to record one of those songs.
The whips won't hurt them. New keep picking my crops, but the slaves can't touch me, so I'm not worried. All alone, living on my own, so I show no mercy, I show no mercy.
Jamad Gould is a local author and activist. He graduated from Mardella High, and his relatives go there now and told him about the songs.
The fact that you're comfortable telling people to listen to something that you know is derogatory, that you know is offensive, that you know is something you should not be saying, and you're laughing and joking about it, that to me speaks on what his mind state is.
WBOC contacted the Board of Education about the songs, and school officials say they are aware of them. The board says an investigation is underway with the central office, and any consequences will be in accordance with the Code of Conduct.
With my clan, so the slaves keep screaming, please don't whip me, please don't whip me, yeah.
Gould hopes the songs spark a bigger conversation about racism.
This is in our community because kids don't hate people based on the color of their skin from birth. It's something that they learned, which means that their parents who live in this community are teaching that to their kids.
The songs were originally posted on a music share site called SoundCloud. They have since been taken down.
Now today we also reached out to the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office, who says that these songs and the Board of Education's internal investigation for now will be handled by the school district. For now, reporting live in Wicomico County, Brooke Reese, WBOC News here in Mardella Springs.
Man, going down. All right, so apparently this lady called the cops on this young man right here and this young lady over here talking to the cops. She called the cops on them because they were parked in the red zone. Right there. Right there. That's our man, right there. Red Zone Rosie, right here, everybody. Red Zone Rosie. She called the cops because they're parked in the red zone.
Right. Because, right. I did not know she passed. When did she get out the academy?
This is Red Zone Rosie right here. Wow, it's pretty crazy.
Also, we're done videotaping now. I didn't realize she was parking enforcement.
Red Zone Rosie.
That's new to me.
How you doing?
We can do that now? Call the cops when somebody's parked illegally?
Really? We gonna waste cops' time like this?
This is a waste of time.
Pacific Beach, California, y'all.
Y'all got an issue in the backyard right over here. Y'all dealing with
backyard has somebody belligerent drunk outside giving security a hard time, and Red Zone Rosie over here calling the cops. Crazy. They are literally trying to handle a belligerent drunk on the ground outside right now.
Aren't you guys parked in the red zone?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. You gonna give me a ticket?
Yeah.
Feel free, give me a ticket, please.
Red Zone Rosie, y'all.
Not pay that shit.
Red Zone Rosie.
That shit is hilarious. That shit is hilarious. People can't even make a living.
Man.
Can't even make a living. Could be out here doing all
They out here trying to make money.
You know what I'm saying?
And she calls the cops on them because they're in a red zone.
Right.
Really, we're wasting cops' time.
We could be out here doing all types of other crazy shit.
Literally, right now, backyard security is handling a situation. And we got 3 cops over here dealing with this. Unbelievable.
Man, oh man.
Red Zone Rosie, how you doing?
I usually deal with this shit downtown, not in PV.
How you doing? Red Zone Rosie.
This is what happens when we try to do right. This is what happens when we actually try and do a good job and cause we could be out here doing other crazy shit. We actually trying to make a living, but people don't know how to mind their business. This is holding up our job. We're on the clock right now dealing with this. Yeah, I tried to park it straight, but it's a big, what is it? It's a beach. We work for Uber. Nah, that's just it's a company van. But that's what we're doing. We're driving around collecting the orange scooters. The orange jumps.
You're not taking people, you're taking scooters.
Yeah, you know. Exactly.
Red Zone Rosie. Red Zone Rosie, y'all.
Today, the Florida Clemency Board pardoned the so-called Groveland Four. They're 4 African-American men who were accused of raping a white woman in 1949.
Family, it never happened. You all are liars.
If you want an idea of how slow justice can be for black people in America, well, here's an example. On July 16, 1949, a 17-year-old white woman named Norma Paget and her husband told police 4 young black men raped and kidnapped her after their car broke down in Groveland, Florida. On January 2019, Ernest Thomas, Samuel Shepard, Walter Irving, and Charles Greenlee were pardoned after being falsely accused of rape. 7 decades later. But this pardon may come as little refuge to the families of these men, for the story is truly incomprehensibly tragic. Just 2 years ago, Vivian Shepard sat in the Florida House of Representatives and listened as an official apology was offered for the gross injustices in the case of the Groveland boys. One of them was Samuel Shepard, her uncle that she'd never met. During World War II, Vivian's grandfather, Henry Shepard, purchased 55 acres of swampland in Groveland, Florida. He spent several years renovating the property to make it into something of value. Once he was finished, however, poor white farmers tried to force Henry Shepard from his land. And despite countless complaints he made to the local sheriff, William McCall, he did nothing, stating on record, "No N-word has the right to file a claim against a white man." Now, one of the families that owned adjacent land and had previously tried to intimidate the Shepards into leaving was the Paget family. Their daughter, Norma Paget. She was involved in a turbulent and at times violent relationship with her husband Willie. One night, according to records, they tried to patch things up, so they went drinking and dancing, only for Norma to turn up outside a cafe claiming that 4 black men had raped her. One of those accused was Samuel Shepard. Within hours, Shepard and Walter Irving, 22-year-old childhood friends and army buddies, yes, veterans, from Groveland, were arrested, taken into the basement beneath the Lake County Jail, and severely beaten by deputies. 16-year-old Charles Greenlee was also arrested and beaten, and a 4th suspect who did not know Shepard or Irving, Ernest Thomas, was hunted down by a posse and shot dead in a North Florida swamp. After word spread about 4 black men raping a white woman, local Klan members descended on the town and began burning black homes. One of them, Henry Shepard's house, which was reduced to ashes. In 1951, after the US Supreme Court overturned his son's guilty verdict, Sheriff Willis McCall decided to personally transport the defendants from prison back to Lake County for the retrial. McCall turned down a dark alley, stopped his car, pulled his gun, and executed Samuel Shepard. Walter Irving, handcuffed to his best friend, was shot 3 times, but he survived to tell the FBI the story of cold-blooded murder. But Walter was given only a few weeks to recover, then returned to the courtroom to face trial for the rape of Norma Paget. He was convicted by 12 white jurors and sentenced to death. However, his sentence was commuted to life in prison, but it was 68 years before an official apology would be offered by the Florida government, and then a further 2 years before they pardoned these men. Last week, Norma Paget, now 87, sat in the audience and demanded they not be pardoned. Despite a history of inaccuracies in her story, a plethora of racist epithets, and even claims that she visited James Shepard, a relative of Samuel Shepard, to apologize for something that, according to his statement, she said never happened. But yet, she remained vigilant in her attempts to prevent their pardoning. Her attempts failed. They were pardoned 70 years after this horrible tragedy.
More than half a dozen black employees at a GM plant say they are facing racist threats and intimidation at work. Their evidence is laid out in a lawsuit with pictures of nooses, whites-only signs, and the N-word they say showed up inside the plant. While GM says it takes discrimination and intimidation seriously and is doing all it can to get rid of the problem, a state law enforcement agency ruled it isn't doing enough. CNN's Sarah Seidner has a story, and I have to warn you, okay? You will hear racial epithets and disturbing language in this story.
Every day he walked into work, Marcus Boyd prayed he'd survive his shift unscathed.
I felt like I was at war, risking my life every day.
Derek Brooks, a former Marine, worked in the same place. Both were supervisors on different shifts at the General Motors transmission plant in Toledo, Ohio. Brooks considers himself tough from his military training, but he struggled to handle what was happening at work.
How rough and tough can you be when you got 11 or 12 people who want to put a noose around your neck and hang you till you're dead?
There's a reason he brings up nooses. It's not just a figure of speech.
This is the picture of the noose that I found the night that I was at work on my shift.
According to a lawsuit now pending against GM, this is one of at least 5 nooses discovered at their workplace in separate incidents. The suit also claims there were signs that blacks were not welcome there. Whites only scrawled on a bathroom wall, along with swastikas on bathroom stalls and niggers not allowed scratched or written on bathroom walls.
This was saying, you don't belong here. This was saying, if you stay here, this is what could possibly happen to you.
In this struggling town, Brooks and Boyd didn't want to leave their six-figure jobs. Brooks has 8 children. Boyd takes care of his mother, who is an amputee. Now, they and 7 others have sued GM for allowing an underlying atmosphere of violent racial hate and bullying. When did you notice overt racism?
Well, when an employee that was under me, he told me that back in the day, a person like me would have been buried with a shovel.
He said what to you?
That was a death threat, and I was told to push that to the side.
Boyd says he reported the incident.
He admitted to it, and I was pulled to the side and said, you know, if you want to build relationships here, you know, you just let things go, he'll be all right.
But he says the threats got worse. Were you afraid for your life?
Definitely. That's why I left.
When the noose appeared in March of 2017, Derek Brooks says he reported it to upper management. He was sure he was the intended target, but says he was told to investigate by questioning his employees.
It felt like a slap in the face. It did, but I had to be professional.
Brooks and other black employees also noticed being called Dan.
I thought they just mispronounced my name for Derek. Then later I find out that Dan was an acronym for dumbass nigga.
General Motors sent us a statement insisting discrimination and harassment are not acceptable and in stark contrast to how they expect people to show up at work. We treat any reported incident with sensitivity and urgency and are committed to providing an environment that is safe, open, and inclusive. And that every day, everyone at General Motors is expected to uphold the values that are an integral part of its culture. But according to more than half dozen current and former black employees, the problem is the culture. They say inside this plant, racism and harassment are the norm, not the exception.
It is a culture.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
You have to, it's from the top down and the bottom up.
One employee filed a police report. Others filed complaints with the Ohio Civil Rights Commission prior to filing suit.
The ultimate decision that was made is that GM did allow a racially hostile environment.
They allege they investigated quickly and have done remedial things to take care of the problem.
The commission disagrees with that position. GM did not do very much at all, or what they did do was not effective.
GM says that they held mandatory meetings and even closed the plant for a day for training and to address the issue with every shift. The Civil Rights Commission report noted a former union president's testimony that during one of those meetings, a white supervisor said too big of a deal was being made of the nooses. After all, there was never a black person who was lynched that didn't deserve it. The lawsuit alleges that supervisor was never disciplined.
General Motors is supposed to stand for something, right? That's the great American company. Well, what are you doing about this?
A GM representative that we spoke to says that they have not identified those who put up the nooses, and therefore no one has been fired for those incidents. They said, however, that some people have been dismissed in that Toledo plant during what it's calling its extensive anti-discrimination and anti-harassment work, and that work continues today. But Don, guess what else continues?
Yeah.
The racist threats. Just today, we received a picture from inside of the plant sent to an attorney that mentions hanging people. There have been other threats against those who have spoken out, black workers there, threats directed directly at them, and they are now in fear and would not go on camera because they were in fear for speaking out again in case more threats came their way as they're going through this process, Don.
You told us, Sarah, what GM said. What about the union?
So we did speak to a UAW representative, and he said, look, he'd been there for 34 years. There could be some, what he said, bad actors that work there, but he didn't believe that there was widespread intentional racism. Now, he said something very interesting. He says, do I believe that people are a little too sensitive in this day and age? Yes, but you can't say the same things you used to say 20 years ago that you can say now. That is the problem that these workers are talking about, being called sensitive when they're facing these really extreme racial epithets, really extreme behavior, and they're being told to suck it up and get along.
pictures obtained by the local paper, the Tallahassee Democrat, show Michael Ertel at a private Halloween party in 2005, posing as a Hurricane Katrina victim. At the time, Ertel was a county supervisor of elections. Just weeks ago, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis had appointed him Secretary of State.
It's unfortunate. I think he's done a lot of good work, but at the same time, I've got to have an administration that's going to be focused on what matters to Floridians, and I don't want to get mired into kind of side controversies.
According to the paper, the photos were taken just 2 months after Hurricane Katrina ravaged the Gulf Coast. Ertel is seen in blackface, wearing red lipstick, earrings, and a New Orleans Saints bandana. There's nothing I can say, he told the paper when asked about the photos. Today, the paper says it shared them with the governor's office. Ertel abruptly resigned hours later, just a short time after testifying before lawmakers about election lawsuits. NBC News could not reach him for comment.
He had arranged for media visits to New Orleans after the disaster, so for him to come along and do this was really shocking, especially in the aftermath of the storm.
Ertel, an Army veteran, was in charge of restoring voting rights to more than 1 million ex-felons, which voters approved in November. Tonight, he's out of a job. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News.
More controversy in the wake of that footage of Catholic high school students and a Native American veteran in Washington, D.C. As Stephen Fabian reports, President Trump is criticizing the initial rush to blame the teens.
President Trump is weighing into the viral video uproar all of America is talking about, looking like Nick Sandmann and Covington Catholic students were treated unfairly, with early judgments proving out to be false, smeared by media, he tweeted. Donald Trump Jr. is also doubling down.
They were wearing a MAGA hat. They had to pounce because the media wants that to be true. They want a bunch of nice Catholic kids happen to be white. They want them to be the enemy.
Fox News host Laura Ingraham says she has learned the students have been invited to visit President Trump at the White House as soon as tomorrow. But she later tweeted, White House now seems to be in flux regarding Covington Catholic kids. Announced any meeting would happen after shutdown. The nation remains divided after the initial rush to judgment blamed high school junior Nick Sandmann for confronting a Native American on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Other video painted a more nuanced picture.
When you look at the video, and I've seen much of it, it depends on which lens you are looking at the video. Absolutely. And you have no idea, unless you were there.
Where are the adults in this? Teaching. No one is there.
Covington Catholic is now facing additional scrutiny for this video that has since been removed from its website. The video from 2012 shows students wearing all black, said to be a tradition at the school's sporting events, but a handful of students painted their faces black. This photo was posted on Twitter. The year it was taken is unknown. We spoke to Philip Hawkins, who played basketball against Covington Catholic in 2015.
They chanted caramel, caramel, and as the only black kid on the floor, you knew who they were talking about.
Meanwhile, new video of the students is coming to light during their visit to Washington. Listen to what some students believed to be from Covington yelled at these young women.
I'm so tired already.
And listen to this guy.
It's not rape if you enjoy it.
Covington Catholic was closed Tuesday in order to ensure the safety of our students, faculty, and staff, according to a letter from the principal. These two students spoke out on YouTube.
There have been many threats against our lives, against our parents. Some of these threats include that we should all be locked in the school and it should be burnt to the ground, the school being bombed.
We've reached out to Covington Catholic officials for comment, but have not heard back from them.
Details now, the day after a heated confrontation that led to a man's arrest and launched a hate crime investigation.
Tonight, CBS 4 News has obtained new video of what happened before the encounter in Brickell. CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live tonight in Liberty City with the latest. Ted.
Yeah, Ruben, Elliott, that video shows a lot of the chaos that led up to that gun being pulled and those racial slurs being thrown around. The group held a news conference just a little while ago. It just ended a few minutes ago here in Liberty Square. They kind of explained that this whole protest began about concerns about housing.
You ran over my foot! Don't touch me, you bunch of thugs!
It's video airing all over the place, showing a woman and a group of teens getting into a yelling match on the Brickell Avenue Bridge on MLK Day. It took a turn when we see Mark Bartlett walk up with a gun in hand.
That guy in the red! Yeah, right behind this guy, you losers! You ran over my foot!
On the video, we hear Bartlett hurling racial slurs. The teens took off. Police say Bartlett followed them and was eventually stopped by police and arrested for carrying a concealed weapon. Organizers were stunned.
I felt like we were reliving, what our ancestors went through. I was feeling in a way that's undescribable. To hit a to not just an African-American kid, but a Spanish kid as well.
Now we're seeing new video from before the confrontation. It shows the teens in a Brickell intersection, then stopping traffic on the bridge. Later, it appears to show one of them urinating off the bridge. The teens are with the group Bikes Up, Guns Down. The founder said the kids were on a ride protesting redevelopment of the Liberty Square housing project. New units are going up as old ones are torn down as part of a county plan to improve the area. Today, the group had moving billboards rolling around Brickell, showing Bartlett's smiling mugshot and playing the video of the confrontation. Meanwhile, Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle put out a statement saying, in part, "I am outraged at the reported acts depicted in the videos taken during this incident. I have assigned my chief of our hate crimes unit to immediately investigate and handle this case." She goes on, "I am committed to filing the appropriate charges and to vigorously prosecute this case to the fullest extent of the law." Now, we asked why they targeted the Brickell area specifically for their protest, and what they said is it's the economic hub of South Florida, so they wanted to spread their message over in that area. Also, we contacted the woman that you see in the video as well as the man who was arrested trying to get comment. We haven't heard from either one of them. Live in Miami, Ted Scout, CBS 4 News.
In your mouth, go back to
Listen,
Mexico.
I said, excuse me.
Go back, wherever you're from.
I said, excuse me. Don't be rude.
You're the one that's rude.
No, I said,
Yes,
excuse
you
me.
are.
I'm trying to buy
You're in
something.
America.
So?
You're in America.
So what?
That's none of your business. Stay out of it.
I don't need to stay out of it.
I said,
It's
excuse
not enough
me.
for everybody to hear. Stop being ignorant.
A nigger's calling me ignorant?
Oh,
yes.
my
all this,
goodness.
Go back to Mexico and all that stuff.
Oh
Yes,
my goodness.
absolutely.
You are very rude.
No, you're the one that's rude.
I said, excuse me, because I'm trying to grab my medicine.
You told me, you know what you told me, and I ain't
Yes,
gonna put up with it.
I said, if you don't like it, I'm
Just go
sorry.
on. Just go on. Just go on. Get your stuff
Whatever.
and get out of here.
No, I'm
And
not
then go
gonna
back
get
to
out of
Mexico.
here. No. No, I'm not.
Are you
Because
gonna
this is
stand
my
here and
country.
argue?
Yes, this is my
That's not
country.
your
Oh, yes,
country.
it is.
No, we don't
Oh,
want
yes,
you
it
here.
is. I don't care.
We don't want you
I don't care what you want or not.
We do want you here. Leave me alone. No.
How rude. How rude.
Get her to
No, ma'am.
leave me alone.
This is inappropriate.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, tell her.
No, ma'am.
Tell her.
It's
I
inappropriate.
said, excuse
Speak
me.
for the store.
I'm not here for the store.
You're in the store.
I'm spending money in the store.
Correct.
So am I.
That's correct.
Uh-huh. So we're both
Please
customers.
go. Please go.
Oh,
Get out of here.
how rude. I just scared.
Oh, where?
Shut up. Are you... Does she honestly still have a right to be
No,
here?
ma'am.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to ask you to leave, ma'am. This is inappropriate.
It's not my fault. She started it.
I did not do anything. I said,
You're going to make her
excuse me.
leave too?
But you're just causing a scene in the store.
I'm not. She is.
By
No,
what?
I did
Did you
not.
watch it?
No.
You weren't even
I
there.
heard you from
She
the office.
is. That's because she was mouthing me.
No, I said, excuse me.
So don't tell me it's my fault.
And you said, every time I'm on an aisle, people just come near
I
me.
wasn't talking to you.
And I said,
but
I'm
you made it
sorry.
your business.
I said, I'm sorry. If you don't like it, I need to get my medicine.
Making it all up.
No, I'm
Every
not.
bit of it up.
Wow.
Just get your stuff and go.
Oh,
She's shopping as well.
my
ma'am.
gosh.
She has
I
every
am
right to
too.
be here as you.
And I'm not going to listen to her mouth.
You don't have to listen to her. But she's still
I
here
do
and
when
has every
she-
right to shop.
I do.
Which is what you're doing as well, ma'am.
You're not.
Well, I'm just trying to resolve a conflict here, that's all.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're
That's
not.
exactly what I'm trying
The
to do.
conflict is her.
I did not do anything
And
to you,
nobody's
ma'am.
gonna
You
talk to
pushed
me
your
like
car
she did.
towards me and pushed
Nobody.
me.
I didn't push you.
Yes, you pushed me with your cart.
Oh, whatever. I ain't listening to this bull crap.
Oh my God.
Idiots, I'm going to own about 20 or 25 of those MAGA hats. Race symbols stand for everything down. You're about an idiot. You're a typical, dumb, stupid nigger. That's what you are. Has nothing to do with racism. Donald, it's called Make America Great Again. And if you think the Democrats are doing it, you are a blind, idiot, fool deceived by the devil out of hell, boy. You're an idiot. And you call yourself a pastor. Maybe the devil's pastor. Certainly not Jesus Christ, that's for sure.
So you watched lying, racist Al Sharpton and figured that's how you're going to get rich. Right, you fucking racist? You're no man of God. You are far from being a man of God. Whatever happened to thou shalt not bear false witness? It's not surprising a bunch of damn blacks are attacking white 16-year-old boys. And you wonder why this country is divided? It's because fucking Obama was able to brainwash all you dumbasses. Why don't you go back to fucking Africa? Maybe you'll be happier there. There's no white people there. They kill white people there. Why don't you go back to Africa, you fake pastor, son of a bitch?
I went out to recreation, handcuffed, ankle shackles and handcuffed to a table that you supposed to feel safe going out there to them tables. And me and 3 other inmates, we go out there to them tables. Remind you, we playing spades. I was like, wow, this can't be happening. You get what I'm saying? So I got up and the other inmates got up, but we trying to get out our cuffs. We trying to get out.
Our heart goes out to the victims in this case. Yes, Mr. Rinke's in prison for life, but these inmates, these gentlemen that were there, regardless of whatever reason they were in prison, they have a right to be protected. I have no basis to believe this was a setup.
They didn't want me to come home, and they didn't want me to shine light onto that institution.
Do we know if this person was held in a restrictive unit, like solitary? What's taking them so long to get there? If they are in general population, it would be great to know if this is routine. My gut instinct or my hunch, would say that that the correctional officer failed to do their job that day, and as a result, this incident could have been completely preventable.
Shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Shem Abishai by Hashem Rakak Badash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Right, to the confusion of face brothers joined to our ranks, to the Akwath and the hopeful elect, to you I say Shalom. It has begun, the attack and the demonization and the beginning of Jacob's troubles. The video that I'm gonna profile is a video from Professor Black HQ, and it's a very good video. And the problem that I have with this brother is that he's stuck on black, and he's clearly doesn't understand that the Northern Kingdom, who the world ignorantly calls Latinos and Native Americans, which my heritage goes back to, are indeed Israelites as well as the Negroes, which is what this Hebrew Israelite thing is all about, which is why the media is hell-bent on putting the title black before Israelites, black Israelite, black Israelites, when the Hebrew Israelites do not identify with anything black, the true ones that is, especially them with GMS, who are really at the forefront of this Hebrew-like movement, the mass awakening. As you can see at the top of the screen, the brother, the head of the LA camp, is being profiled in this video, but yet they don't mention GMS. They mention these HOI and IUIC and Kendrick Lamar and all these other things that are important, but yet really aren't. All right. The truth of the matter is that the message is being distorted, and they're not telling, and they're just highlighting all the negative things that they can, which we expected them to do, to sample, soundbite, and not talk about the true message, is that these people are indeed the true biblical Israelites, and that the Jewish people are not. Okay, even Blackstone Intelligence chimed in on this, and he was saying his negative things about the black Hebrew Israelites. Yet he's a strong advocate against the state of Israel, and in his videos on Blackstone Intelligence, he's constantly saying that they are not the people of the Lord. They are not the Israelites. So who is? And see, that's the problem. His Edomite tendencies are showing through, because they do not want the Negroes to be the true tribe of Judah at all. So let me open with some scripture, and then I'm going to play some of this video. But this is Jeremiah 14:2. And it reads, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. That's from the King James 16:11 Bible, the same one that your president swears in on. All right. And when you look up that word black in the Hebrew, which that scripture was originally written in, it gives you the word kadar, which means dark skinned. All right. As I can put the arrow on the elder Manatazat there. All right. Dark skin. His shirt is black. His face is brown. Okay. One more scripture. This is Acts 13:1. And it reads, Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, Barnabas and Simon, that were called Nigger, and Lucius and Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul. Okay? So the disciples were called niggers. And the word nigger in days of old was not a derogatory term. It was simply a term that identified someone who had, watch the arrow, dark skin. And I'm going to prove that with a definition from the Winston Simplified Dictionary, 1933. All right. And it reads, nigger, French negre, Spanish negro, dark skinned one, Latin Niger, black, and negro, now usually contemptuous or vulgar terms. So now it's a contemptuous and vulgar term. Now I'm going to put that video before the camera. I mean that definition. So you can read it for yourself. All right. Nigger. N-I-G-E-R. Nigger. N-I-double-G-E-R. All right. French, negre. Spanish, negro. Dark, now Latin, Niger, black. A Negro, now usually contemptuous or now usually a contemptuous or vulgar term. All right. Characteristics of American Negroes. Okay. Who were brought here during the slave trade, which the Bible says that the Israelites would go into slavery via ships and be sold unto their enemies in Deuteronomy 28. Okay. Before I play the video, let's get a little bit more information. All right, about the Northern Kingdom. In the Jewish Encyclopedia, all right, it gives you the definition of Azareth, of Azareth. All right. And it says, the name of the land beyond the great river far away from the habitation of man, in which 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration. What restoration? Is when the 12 tribes begin to rule over the earth again, with the Negroes at the head of that, so-called, because the Negroes are so-called are indeed the tribe of Judah, the same tribe that the Lord came out of. All right. Hebrews 7:14 says it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah. We just read out of the King James Bible, the same one that your president swears in on, Jeremiah 14:2, that Judah was black unto the ground, Kedar, with dark skin. These details the news media is not bringing out what the message is. They'll get the angry arguments and the cussing and the putting women in their place, according to the scriptures, by the way. Because the Bible says that the Lord is the head of man and man is the head of woman. And it also says that the woman is the weaker vessel. And that the woman is not to speak in the company of men, in the church. All right? That's what the Bible says. They leave that part out. But yet this is a Christian society. These Edomites are hypocrites. That's another thing. They do not want to be known as Edomites. They assigned the title white to themselves in 1681 in Virginia. In Virginia. And their problem is that the Israelites have a platform on the internet, which is what the real problem is, bringing out true world history. Back to this definition. It says, the laws of Moses into the time of restoration, according to 2nd Ezra or 4th Ezra, chapter 13, verse 45, Columbus identified America with this land. Columbus knew he was coming to America. He knew that he was coming to Azareth. He knew that the Israelites were here. Then it says, C. K. Serling's Christopher Columbus, translated by Dr. Gross, page 15. Well, guess what I have in my presence? K. Serling's book, Christopher Columbus and the Participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese Discoveries by Mayor K. Serling. All right. And it was translated. This book was written in the 1800s and it was translated from Hebrew and from Spanish and from Portuguese. All right. By Dr. Charles Gross, PhD. All right. It was translated. Okay. And then it tells you, and then it tells you, here we go. On page, it says see page 15 in the encyclopedia. And here it is. It says, matter of fact, I'm going to read it through the lens of the camera. Okay. It says, he was also fond of reading the Bible, the 4th book of Ezra, which is found in the Apocrypha, which, by the way, your current president, I should say, at his inauguration, they read out of the Apocrypha, proving that the Apocrypha has always been a part of the Bible. All right. Which was probably written by a Jew who lived outside of Palestine. According to his own assertion, the incentive that impelled him to plan his discoveries were not the love of science, but his interpretation of the prophecies of Isaiah. In Portugal, Columbus earnestly conceived the idea of making maritime discoveries by the way of the West. He came to America with 5 Hebrew interpreters. 5 Hebrew interpreters. And this is what the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, teach in the streets. That we are a regal people, that we are to come back to our law, statutes, and commandments. We're not to follow the ways of Esau, Edom. They've used our book and Christianity against us. And that this book, and this is not about religion, as the as Professor Black HQ ignorantly says, it's not about, and it's not about black people. It's about the Hebrew Israelites, which make up primarily the Native Americans, the so-called Latinos, and the so-called Negroes. Also, the confusion of faiths that are scattered among all the heathens. So if you really listen to the message, it's not about black this or white this. It's about the Israelites, and our people come in all shapes and forms and colors because we got scattered to all nations of the world. And that is our message. All right, now I'm gonna let this video play, because this you will never see on CNN, CNBC, ABC, etc., etc.
Political scientific shtick. It doesn't matter what. Let me start off by saying that this is not about the Hebrew Israelites. If you're somebody who has your issues with them, then that's fine. But understand, the same way that I told you that the whole R. Kelly thing is not about R. Kelly, Bill Cosby wasn't about Bill Cosby, it's about white supremacy launching an all-out offensive against black people, black men in particular.
He's actually got a point there, but it's against the Israelites. Okay, against Jacob, and especially against the tribe of Judah, because Esau understands and knows our history, and Judah is the head tribe of the nation of Israel, and they took the brunt of our oppression. They did. All right, and what they don't want is the so-called natives and Latinos joining onto their brothers. This is happening on the internet, and this is what they fear. All right, because when the tribes get together, great things are done, as when the Negroes got together with my tribe down in Florida, and you have a group of people they refer to as the Black Seminoles, and the hell that we put on Andrew Jackson and his Indian killers when they brought 30,000 of their men against 3,000 of us, and we killed 27,000 of them in battle, brought their numbers down. When the tribes come together, it's a spiritual thing, and we're powerful, and this is what they fear.
That's what this is about. The Hebrew Israelites are being used as basically a case study. White supremacy is making it clear that they are now about to start formally going after black voices on the internet. Whether you agree with the Hebrew Israelites, whether or not you think they're right, whether or not you like what they do is irrelevant. The point is, they are a non-sanctioned black voice, and the white media is using them as a template. These guys get out there, they say some pretty loud stuff, they say some pretty off-the-wall stuff, they're pretty controversial.
They read out of the Bible.
All black people who don't agree with white supremacy are controversial. But if you look at what the white media decides to hone in on as what they don't like about the Hebrew Israelites, you find that it conveniently dovetails with everything that they also don't like about the new voices of black media. Remember, this is not about the Hebrew Israelites. They're using them as the thin end of the wedge. These guys get out there, they're loud, they're speaking strongly, they're calling people names and such, and the white media looks and goes, see, that's how these new voices are. They're not responsible. They're not like the old black media. They're not like the responsible Negroes in the Congressional Black Caucus. Well, these guys say that they don't like homosexuality, and they have a problem with white rule. Oh, something must be done. The same way that the white media has been using their media monopoly in order to try to make black men into the face of sexual harassment and assault, so as to get attention off of the white males who actually are the face of sexual harassment and sexual assault.
That's true.
They're using their media to try to prop up the next media offensive. We've been speaking out against these bastards, and we've been having an impact. So what they're doing is they're laying the groundwork for how they intend to come against us. It's going to start off with the Hebrew Israelites. And next thing you know, they're going to segue to, there are these other voices over there. They may not stand on street corners, but a lot of stuff that they say.
It's called Jacob's trouble. To see all you people who come against us, and I'm talking about of our own people, and these bootleg Israelite camps like the one on the screen. The Lord is coming. When the Lord comes in, he's only going to save his elect, because Esau is coming for all of us. All right. But there's only a few of us who are actually going to have that covering when the Lord lifts up that standard.
Say kind of dovetails with these Hebrew Israelites. That's how these guys operate. They're going to choose one in particular to hold them up as the bad nigger figure. And then they'll turn right around and say, and all the rest of you, you're no better than them. So we're going to, first of all, come up with the means to go after these niggers over here, these loud guys in these outfits. And then that's going to become the new rules for how they go after anyone and everyone, because they don't have a means to counter what we say. I'm going to break down the Washington Post's article about the Hebrew Israelites. This came out just today. Now, for the last couple of days, people have been hearing about the protest on Capitol Hill in front of the Lincoln Monument, and you had these Donald Trump supporters who were taunting Native Americans who were there, and it led to a standoff, and everybody's like, oh, just another case of Donald Trump's very fine people deciding that some non-whites need to be put on notice and disrespected. And that's how it was for a while, but the white media was like, whoa, we don't want white folks to get too at each other's throats, so we need to find a way to throw some niggers in there. Next thing you know, who are the black Israelites at the center of the viral standoff at the Lincoln Memorial? Wait a minute. The Hebrew Israelites were at the center of it? There were only like 4 or 5 of them there. And they were not the ones who were up in anyone's faces. They were standing off to the side. How the hell are they at the center of it? Well, this is where the white media's got to explain things to you, because if you look at it, clearly the Hebrew Israelites were not the ones who kicked this off. They were not at the center of anything, so the white media needs you to listen to them as they spin their fairy tale for you. Now, I'm going to be quoting liberally from this article, but just understand, this is supposed to be the so-called liberal media. And this is what the liberal media has to say about black people. In the initial media churn, they were nearly missed. But a small band of Hebrew Israelites, members of a historic but little-known American religious movement, may actually be at the center of a roiling controversy that has gripped the nation in recent days.
And we have gripped the nation. As a matter of fact, the whole world, and it's prophesied that we will wake up. The Lord is closing up the breaches between the northern and the southern kingdom. And we're not a religious group. We don't believe in religion. The word religion goes back to a Latin word religio, which means to tie up or bind, to constrict. All right? Religion is man-made. Religion is Christianity. That's what religion is. The Bible is a book of our heritage, and that is what we stand out in the cold and the heat on the 4 corners of the earth, all right, as the Bible proclaims to be done, and teach our people.
It began with a now viral video clip filmed Friday at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington. The clip was widely understood as being centrally about the dangers of Trumpism, and the teenagers who were taunting the Native Americans were condemned. But a longer video soon bubbled to the surface, widening the lens. There we go. There goes that. The same stuff you hear from the right wing. Whenever black people would be killed, they say, well, we don't have all the facts yet. Now you got your good liberals saying the same thing. Well, we didn't have all the facts, you see. It showed how a group of half a dozen Hebrew Israelites had in fact been goading and preaching at both the Native Americans and high schoolers, using profanity and highly provocative language for nearly an hour. So the video showing the whites and the Indians facing off, that's not the real story. The real story is there were some niggers who were over there, and apparently they were using some indelicate language. See what they did there? The Hebrew Israelites were not part of the standoff. They were standing off to the side. That's what they were doing. They weren't in the standoff. They were standing off to the side. But the white media is telling you, no, they were at the very center of it. They have no evidence of it, but they're telling you that, so you're supposed to just buy it. And then they go on, And this is where the white media gets very interesting. I'll tell you black folks something. You don't know anything about your enemy. You wonder why it is that Professor Truth spends so much time learning the history of these bastards, finding out where their movements originate, who are their leaders, their ideological forebears and progenitors. It's because
he couldn't have spent too much time because he didn't know that they're the Edomites, that they labeled themselves as white in 1681 in Virginia.
Beat your enemy unless you know your enemy. The Washington Post put this up basically to show black folks, yeah, we may not have talked about you guys, but let us show you just how much we know about you.
And that's because the truth is the only real threat to the so-called white man, which the camps that came out of One West actually have and are teaching. And not all on the same level, because GMS has a 100% truth. But nevertheless, even these other camps are still pushing the vibration that the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American are the Israelites.
Is meant to do. It's meant to be a shot across the bow to make it clear, yeah, you voices on the internet, you black voices who do not speak up about how black people need to embrace homosexuality, and you're not going for the white okey doke and the intersectionality crap. Yeah, we've heard you. You've been influencing too many black people. Even if you as individuals don't agree with each other on everything, the point is, as an aggregate, all of these voices who refuse to toe the white line, who refuse to let white media just rule the day, you guys have been influencing too many black people. Too many black people have been listening.
That's the problem.
And maybe
Latinos and natives as well.
Do they follow the new voices of black media? The question is, are they following white power? And too many black folks are starting to veer off. So now it's a matter of, okay, white media is acting as the point man.
And he's going to mention the thousands of videos later on in his video. But guess what? There are hundreds and hundreds of videos of Edomites saying the same thing. Saying that the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are indeed the true people of the Bible. The real Israelites. And you have the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Church, these Edomite organizations that are the main ones driving this, because this exposes their precious Christianity and their Judaism as being false. And this is what they fear. Because they got their power based upon the lies that they are the people of the Lord, and we're telling our people that they're not, that you are.
We need to tell you, first of all, let's start the story off as always. Here's some dangerous Negroes over here. First, they're going to start off saying these guys are dangerous. They're dangerous. And then it's going to be, well, we need some legislation. Somebody needs to do something. To continue with the article, dressed in fringed black garb, some with scarves tied around their heads, they preached what to many were both abrasive and unfamiliar end-times messages, calling Native Americans literal descendants of the Israelite tribe of Gad,
and they are
the white students cursed Edomites, and preaching that a nuclear apocalypse was around the corner.
And that's true.
Now look at what they did there. They made it very clear, yes, we are familiar with what you guys are saying about white people being Edomites. This is the article just basically saying, yes, we're familiar with your rhetoric. We are familiar with these guys. They haven't said anything, but as I keep telling you, just because they haven't mentioned us doesn't mean they don't know about us. They've been watching us for years. I personally know that they've been on to me for at least a decade. And any of the other prominent voices, the new voices of black media, they've been watching us too. And remember what I told you. These guys don't have a means to be able to counter us, but they still have an advantage as far as the administration.
They can't counter the truth. That's the problem. All right? And although Professor Black, I have to give him credit where credit is due. He doesn't know the truth about our heritage, but he definitely brings out the dirt on these Edomites and the wicked things that they do.
Administrative and enforcement arms of white supremacy goes, and that's where this is ultimately going to go to. They are laying the groundwork for that. And I also told you that we're not at a point yet where we're ready for a full-in-the-face, head-on confrontation with these bastards. That's part of the reason why they're moving now. As far as they're concerned, okay, maybe it's time for us to just go ahead and come at these new voices, these black people on the internet. Maybe the white media's looking, going, hey, maybe.
Which is going to be their downfall. The Bible says that we would go into the gates of the nobles, and that is exactly what's happening. Esau doesn't understand by coming against us, he's actually sped up his own demise, according to prophecy.
We just have to go ahead and bite that bullet. We may give them a larger profile, but if we use our power to be able to
because
smash
more
these
people are
guys,
going to wake up and come into the truth as a result of this,
and how wrong they are, then hopefully we can smash them and everything goes back to status quo ante. That's what they're doing here. Now, listen to the kind of research that the Washington Post has done about a group of black men who have, to the best of my knowledge, the Hebrew Israelites have never attacked anyone, unlike the alt-right.
True.
They've never run anyone over, unlike the alt-right.
True.
They've never killed anyone, unlike the alt-right.
True.
They've never started massive brawls in the street, unlike the alt-right.
True.
They've never called for anyone to be killed, unlike the alt-right.
True.
And yet, look what the Washington Post is doing. They decide it's time for a full court press against an organization who 99.9% of the people have never even heard of.
Hey, look. You got white gang privilege. Hell, the Hell's Angels are able to market their jackets and and sell their clothes and paraphernalia. All right? GDs and Vice Lords and Latin Kings can't do that.
Before today. The article says the 1970s and 80s saw the rise of an innovative new branch of black Israelism centered around an organization named the Israeli Tanakh School, known colloquially as One West, after its address on 125th Street in Harlem. The One Westers saw themselves as radical reformers of earlier generations of Hebrew Israelites who had gone astray. They were also early and eager adopters of new media.
There it is.
That for you because the white media is letting you know what the problem is. They were also early and eager adopters of new media. So you had some black men who were getting their hands on new technology for media, new technology for communication, and they were eager adopters, which meant that these guys were technically proficient. You didn't have some black folks who were out there begging some white people to do it for them.
And that's the problem, which was prophesied in the Bible. All right? That's the internet scripture. And if you're not in the know, I'm not going to give it to you. All right? That was the internet scripture. And that's how the word got spread to the four corners of the earth. And why GMS of the camps that came out of One West is global, fulfilling the prophecy. The end has come. So this is a challenge to Washington Post. All right? Play this video in its entirety. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Nabashai Ba'Shem Rekakwadash Wa Abad Babal.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Wahaba Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, the teachers' word and truth and sincerity, and for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching in the name of Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai. And this is the brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, and coming to you with a quick lesson. And the title of this lesson is "What Has Changed About the Self-Proclaimed White Man Since 1619 and 2019." And the reason why I use those two dates particularly because, you know, you got these people running around here thinking that, you know, a 400-year prophecy and this fits. Nah, the reason why I use that because that's when the bulk of the slaves started to come to the Americas. Okay, slaves had already been coming here in the 1500s, but the point of the matter is that's when England, the Dutch, the Netherlands, all of those people really started getting into the industry of slavery. Okay, and so the point is what has changed about these people? Because our people in America seem to believe that the self-proclaimed white man is their friend, that he's changed in some variation. And I had a discussion. I was just having a discussion with my woman about it, you know, and it was like, basically she was like, what has changed about him? You know, how has their thinking process changed when it comes to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man? And really, the answer to that question, it has never changed. You know, Esau has always been our enemy from birth, okay, going back to Cain and Abel, even in Jacob and Esau. Esau has always been the enemy to the children of Israel. So your enemy, nothing has changed about our enemy except that his hatred is just grown that much more fervent for us. And we're in a time now where you got these pundits, these news pundits, they're blaming, certain situations on us, man. All we're doing was speaking. Our people were not out here, murdering Edomites. At least we're not out here destroying them. We're not out here stealing from them. We're not out here forcibly relocating them. We're not doing any of those things. All we're doing is speaking the words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And for that, we're hated. Just like our Lord Yahushai, he was hated because all he did was speak the words of his father Yahweh. He didn't even come in his own name. He came in the name of his father. But what did Jake do? They hated him, man. And likewise us. And so that being said, you got to know that we're behind enemy lines. All us Israelites that's living here in America and in South America and Central America, we're behind enemy lines, man. We're in captivity. We're a nation in captivity. Okay, we're a nation that's been destroyed by our enemies time and time again, and we're surrounded by our enemies on all sides, man. And so when you're in that, if you have that understanding, you would know how to move amongst your enemies. And you ask yourself the same question. What has changed about the self-proclaimed so-called white man? Okay, the self-proclaimed white man since 1619 and 2019. And anything that he does or does not do shouldn't surprise you because nothing's changed about him. And so let me share my screen real quick. Just bear with me. I'm going to share my screen real quick. And we'll get into this lesson. All right. And this is, as you can see, you're about to see on the screen, this is the title of a book that I've been going through. Me and a brother here, we did a couple of lessons on this book right here. And as you read the book, it just makes you want to do that more or that many more sit downs on this subject. Because when you read this book, you can see the hate and the disdain that the so-called white man has. Not only he as an individual, but even in making his laws, and how some of these laws, if not all of them, they still apply to us this day. They just titled a certain thing. Okay, they're just titled a certain way, but really, those slave codes haven't changed. Okay, the thought process of how the so-called white man feels about you so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians here in America and abroad, it hasn't changed, man. Okay, and real quick before I start, let me get a second. Sirach chapter 12, verse 13. I'm in 12 and 10. This Sirach 12 and 10. It says, "Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." Right. So the Lord told us what? To never trust our enemy. Because like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Meaning rust is always there. Even no matter how you treat rust, no matter how you try to cut it out, it's still there. It's an infection of metal. And let's look up that term rust. What is rust? Rust is a form of decay too. And that's Esau's wickedness. It never goes anywhere. So as iron rusteth, so does his wickedness. So his wickedness doesn't change. His evil, okay, his skullduggery doesn't change. Just bear with me. My internet is hacking up again. So Lord willing, it'll load up. But Esau's skullduggery, it hasn't changed, man. And we're going to get into how it went from being overt to covert, man. And now it's becoming more overt as the days of this kingdom starts to fall. You're starting to see the evil of the so-called white man, okay? And the wickedness. You got that one actor who claims that he was 2 o'clock in the morning. He was accosted by some so-called white men, and they basically put a noose on his neck, and he whooped his ass. Okay. Now I'm not sure how true that is, but hey, if it is, it shouldn't surprise you, man. In this day and age, it does, because a lot of you think you done sold out to Esau. You actually trust your enemy because they smile in your face. They hand you a check. Okay, they allow you a platform, and you really believe that, hey man, this man has changed. But in reality, he's not changed. He's only using you for his nefarious purposes. And after that, he don't need you no more. He gonna get rid of your ass. Salakia. Bear with me, brother. Hold on. I can give her some milk because she haven't had any milk. All right, I'll give her some milk. You know that milk bottle there? Oh. Slacky about that. Salakia about that. I had to go do something. But this is the term for rust. This is the term for rust. The definition of rust. It says a reddish or yellowish brown flaky coating of iron oxide that is formed in iron or steel by oxidation, especially in the presence of moisture. It says a fungal disease of plant which results into reddish brown patches. Be effect of rust. So point blank, you know, this man's evil, okay, his wickedness is not wiped away. Again, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And our people, they really assume that the so-called, you know, white man, he's the man of to trust. He, like the brother KDC said, token niggas is what they're called, right? You know, and they'll use a token from here and there to do what? To make it seem like, oh, look, we accept black people, we accept Latino, we accept Native people. You know, we understand their cause, with their plight. And look how we've changed over time and how we moved away from our racist and evil ways. That's a lie, man. Though he humble himself and go a crouching, yet take good heed and be aware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. So his rust hasn't all been wiped away. That means his wickedness hasn't been all wiped away. Don't matter how much time passed, this man hates us, man. Okay, and what are you supposed to do to the enemy? You're supposed to hate him too, man. Okay, unless he's a brother in the truth. Okay, you got an enemy of your brothers in the truth. You ain't supposed to hate him, you're supposed to love him. But when it comes to these heathen nations, man, particularly Esau, Edom, and we're allowed to hate him, man. Overtly, covertly, every way imaginable, man. Because this is the way he hates us. Okay, and some of that hatred is what I'm going to read about in this out of this passage. I was looking for something real quick. I can't you know, I got a kid, so I gotta try to manage my situation with her. So give me a second. Salaki, brothers. So out of this book, The Great Stain, this is where, you know, I get a lot of what was this? Salakia. Out of this book, The Great Stain, is where I get a lot of, you know, inspiration to go into Esau's wickedness, because you got to read. You know, the scripture says, "Blessed is he that readeth." You know, okay. It says, "Khan, their evil has been shown, plus the documented as Esau Edom is fucked up." Yeah. So, let me read a passage out this book. This is off of page. This is off of page 237 in this book, The Great Stain, and it says, here the story was very different. For a while, Virginia flirted with the idea of gradual emancipation, but this went nowhere. And in the meantime, other states were busy tightening their laws. William Wells Brown summed up the result in extracts from the American Slave Code, which he published as an appendix to his autobiography. The following are mostly abridged selections from the statutes of the slave states. He wrote most of the important provisions here cited, though placed under the name of only one state, prevail in nearly all the states. With slight variations in language and some diversity in the penalties. Here are some of the laws he quoted, right? Because in this society, we're taught, what are we taught? Oh, the white man is like, oh, we freed you guys from slavery. You know, you guys are free. Slavery happened 400 years ago. You should get over it. Blah, 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 blah. You know, that's what they say to you, right? But in reality, the white man never wanted to let us go. And particularly the large slave states that were having booming economies from their slavery, man. Okay, because slavery was overt all throughout the United States, not just the South. They use the South as like the blaming tool, as if the North were somehow they were more progressive in their thinking and more open, which they weren't. They were just as evil as their Southern counterparts. And so this is we're going to read some of the slave codes and how they still apply to the day. So this was one out of Louisiana. It says a slave is one. It gives a definition of a slave. It says a slave is one who is in power of his master, to whom he belongs. The master may sell him, dispose of his person, his industry, and his labor. He can do nothing, possess nothing, nor acquire anything but what must belong to his master. And that's how society works today. In this society, we don't own anything. We don't have anything. Everything Jake like to look at themselves as business owners and all that, but really you're renters, man. Okay, when the white man don't need you no more, he'll cut you out. Okay, when your services are no longer more needed anymore, you'll get cut off. Point blank simple. They can take your house back because you don't own your house. You got to pay property tax on it. You own your car. The bank can take it anyway. You see? So it says slaves are incapable of inheriting or transmitting property. Meanwhile, the so-called white man, he inherits property. That's something you ask most Jake, what is an inheritance? They don't even know what that is, man. Because for the majority of our people here in America, and I'm speaking about the Southern Kingdom, the so-called Negro, you don't know what it's like to inherit anything. All we've inherited was what? Oppression, destruction, lies, robbery, debt. That's what we get. We don't inherit anything. The so-called white man here in America and abroad, but we're chiefly talking about America, they inherited everything, man. You know, they inherit their father's wealth. They inherited businesses. They become heirs. But why aren't you heiresses? Why aren't you heirs, man? We're heirs of the Lord, but I'm talking about down here on like physical. Why is that the case? Because Esau keeps you at odds, you know? Like in the Django, they bop you on the head, then throw you in a pit when you're no use to them anymore. Khan, that's right, man. So slaves are incapable of inheriting or transmitting property. No slave can be party in a civil suit or witness in a civil or criminal matter against any white person. Every slave found on a horseback without a written permission from his master shall receive 25 lashes. It is lawful to fire upon runaway Negroes who are armed and upon those who, when pursued, refuse to surrender. And that still happens to this day. That's why when these cops see a armed Jake, he just busts off on him. He don't talk to him. He don't try to bring him in for questioning. He doesn't try to, see what made him do what he did. He just kill him off the bat. Likewise, if Jake runs away from the so-called white man, the cops, or he can be a so-called white man or a Jake Centurion. If he runs away, the first thing they do is what? They bust on him. They shoot at him. You saw a case last year, the year before, where Jake was running away from a cop, and the cop unloaded in his back, man. And the only reason why he was, caught up on charges is because somebody happened to be taping it that day. But if nobody was taping it that day, it would have went as planned, man. Okay? So these laws, they still apply today. These draconian laws, and even in these records, it says that these laws are draconian. Okay? It even mentions that these laws are draconian laws, and how basically, let's look up that word draconian, man. Draconian. Draconian. It says laws. It says of laws or their application excessively harsh and severe, and that's why anytime you Jakes get thrown into this man's system, his judicial system, you get the harshest penalty, man. It says extreme, drastic, strict, harsh, severe. You get the harshest punishment, man. Meanwhile, Esau, he gets to rape and molest and pedophile children, and he gets a slap on the wrist, man. It says cruel and brutal, man. Ruthless, man. And that's how this devil has been. He's been nothing but ruthless to us, man. Meanwhile, making a monetary killing off of us, man. So it says a slave. It says a slave for willfully striking his master or mistress or child of either or his white overseer, so as to cause a bruise or shedding of blood, shall be punished with death. Any person cutting, and that goes back to what? That goes back to Cain. It said what? Anybody that touches Cain, the Lord said what? You're gonna get 7 times 7. Okay? The punishment. And that happens to Jake today. That's how you know Esau, Edom, is Cain. And his descendants are the Edomites, the self-proclaimed so-called white man. Nothing has changed from the ancient world even up until this time, because Esau has had a perpetual hatred for you, and he continues to have that hatred. It has not gone anywhere. This is Ezekiel 35:5. Ezekiel 35:5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity and the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh the Lord, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right, and you Edomites, that's your judgment, because you don't shy away from blood. You love blood. You drink blood. You wear it. Okay, you bathe in it. Okay, you shed it willfully with no problem. You're going to be pursued, man, and blood is going to pursue you. Okay, because that's going to be your judgment for your perpetual hatred that you've had against us, man. And again, what has changed about the self-proclaimed so-called white man, or the self-proclaimed white man, since 1619 and 2019? Nothing. Nothing has changed. He's still a liar. He's still a murderer. He's still a thief. Okay, nothing has changed. But Jake, you believe that. You believe that. Oh man, he can change. He can do better. Like an abused wife or something. Like, oh, he can do better. He could get right. Something he's gonna do. He's gonna turn the other cheek, and things are gonna be good. All right. So reading on, it says any person cutting or breaking any iron chain or collar used to prevent the escape of slaves shall be fined not less than $200 nor more than $1,000, and be imprisoned not more than 2 years, nor less than 6 months. All slaves sentenced to death or perpetual imprisonment in virtue of existing laws shall be paid for out of the public treasury, provided the sum paid shall not exceed 300 for each slave. So when a slave died, his master got money. Likewise today, when one of us die, Esau's getting paid. There's insurance policies on every last Israelite on the earth, man. They have insurance policies. So when you die, you get paid. That's why when you commit a crime against an Israelite, such as murder, you got to go to prison for it. You go to jail, you go to court, you got to go to, because you got to pay for that debt that's been mistreated. Okay, and so they put you in, they incarcerate you, but then they pay out the insurance policies for Israelites, man. And that came out of the public treasury, man. All right. And it says in Mississippi, penalty for any slave or free colored person exercising the function of minister of the gospel, 39 lashes. But any master may permit his slave to preach on his own premises. So they would beat you if you got caught, whether you were so-called freeman or whether you were so-called slave, okay, preaching what? The gospel, because they didn't want you to get the gospel. They don't want you to hear the kingdom of heaven is for us. They don't want you to hear that the Lord Yahweh Shai died on the cross for us, man. They wanted you to hear their version of Christianity, plantation Christianity, Renaissance Christianity. Okay, so what they let you preach it on your master's property, but even if you preached on your master's premises, what happened? It had to be a certain way. Okay, you couldn't go to any scriptures where it talked about rising up. You couldn't go to any scripture where it talked about your nationality. You had to talk about the master, being good to your master and loving your master. All right. It says the penalty for teaching. It says no slaves, but of his own being permitted to assemble. Penalty for teaching a slave to read, imprisonment for 1 year. For using language having a tendency to promote discontent among free colored people or insubordination among slaves, imprisonment at hard labor. Right. And those laws still exist today. That's why whenever we're out preaching the word, these devils, they get mad, they get angry. Oh, you guys are preaching hate speech. You guys are look, let's look and see what hate speech is. Which there's no law on hate speech, but let's look at it. It says hate speech. It says abusive or threatening speech or writing that expresses prejudice against a particular group, especially on the base of race, religion, sexual orientation, right? It says we don't tolerate any form of hate speech. Yeah, right. But the Bible talk especially about you Edomites being destroyed, man, and you're going into slavery and repayment for what you've done to us, but you call it hate speech. But that goes back to your draconian slave laws, because you didn't want anything that promotes discontentment in your society. You don't want that. You wanted a happy slave, okay? And that's why Jake is happy to be a slave in America today, man, with no issues. Okay, the brother KDC, Psalm 73:8, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. Yeah, they speak proudly, man. They speak proudly. All right. So it says, discontentment among, it says, for using languages having a tendency to promote discontent among free colored people or insubordination among slaves, imprisonment at a hard labor, not less than 3, no more than 21 years. So for you preaching or talking about or making other slaves feel discontent about their situation, they would throw you in prison for 21 years, man. Hard labor, because you wasn't getting out in 3. All right. This man had no sympathy for you, man. Every Negro, it says 21 years is at the discretion of the court. Every Negro or mulatto found in a state not able to show himself entitled to freedom may be sold as a slave. Okay. It says Alabama, no slave can be emancipated but by a special act of the legislator. Georgia, penalty for free person of color except regularly articled seamen coming into the state, a fine of $100. So you had to pay a bribe of $100, and on failure of payment to be sold as a slave. So you could be free, and they would just throw you back into slavery because you ain't had the money to pay. And what does that sound like? The Bell system, man. The Bell system. You get a certain amount of bail, which they give you an astronomical amount of bail, and they know you can't pay for it, and you get thrown into the slammer, man. You ain't going home. You got to stay there, man. Don't care about your job. Don't care about your family. If you can't prove that you're free, hey, you're going back into slavery, man. If you can't pay that $100, you're going back into slavery. Okay, and it says penalty for permitting a slave to labor or do business for himself, except on his master's premises, $30. Every colored person is presumed to be a slave unless he can prove himself free. And you got to understand something, brothers. That's ingrained in the so-called white man's psyche, man. When he looks at you, he doesn't look at my friend. He doesn't look at an equal. He doesn't look at a partner. He looks at you as a slave, man. Every Negro, unless you can prove otherwise, is to be presumed to be a slave, man. Presumed to be a slave, man. It says, unless he can prove himself free. Any person who sees more than 7 men slaves without any white person in a high road may whip each slave 20 lashes. That's wicked, man. That's why you niggas can't congregate amongst each other, man. That's why when there's a crowd of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, what happens? Here come Esau breaking it up, man. Meanwhile, Esau can throw the wildest parties. He can have the loudest parties, and nobody breaks that shit up. Nobody looks at it as unkempt. Nobody looks at it as something evil. But when we congregate, it's a problem, man. They got to break that shit up unless the so-called white man is there. And then it's all good. It says South Carolina. A few additions had been made to the draconian laws passed in the wake of the Stonewall insurrection. So whenever we had insurrections, that would make the white man scared even more. And that's called they call it the insurrection. In the school, they call it the Stonewall Rebellion. And it says a slave endeavoring to entice another slave to run away, if provisions be prepared for the purpose of aiding or abetting such an endeavor, shall suffer death. Meeting for religious worship before sunrise or 9 o'clock p.m., unless a majority are white persons, are forbidden. And then, but you got the majority, you Jakes, you're all up in these Christian churches, not realizing that there was a time where they didn't even want you to congregate, and it was forbidden, man. No slave can be emancipated, but on the conditions of immediately removing from the state. And a person emancipating shall give bond and the sum equal to the slave's value to have them removed. And that's the only way you could be removed. And what happens? We're all bonding. We're still here. We haven't left. This is Jeremiah. Salakia. I'm trying to remember it. Israel, Judah. This is Salakia. This is Jeremiah 36 and Salakia. Yep. In Jeremiah 50 and 33. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Right. They haven't let us go. So when we got so-called emancipated, that didn't mean freedom. Okay, that just means you got transferred, because it says it right here. You had to be removed from the state, and you had to be taken to somewhere else, man. And then, in order for you to get emancipated, you had to get paid. You had to pay the master for the bond, and that's what happened. A lot of these slave owners, they got paid when chattel slavery collapsed, man. A lot of the major plantation owners, they got paid when it collapsed. In Europe, in the UK, when they banned chattel slavery, what happened? They had to pay all those different merchants, the Rothschilds, all them people got paid. They got paid back. But what happened to the slaves? Did they get paid? No. Did they get repatriated back to the places where they took them from, including Europe? No. They had to stay exactly where they was at, man. Okay, and we're oppressed together. And all that took us captives refused to let us go. And this is a part of this man's hatred for you. This is a part of this man's disdain for you. You understand? And so this is the reason why nothing has changed about him. His hatred is still there. That's why you can still find videos on YouTube and all throughout social media of Edomites hating Jake, man. Okay. And then, so let me read further down. It says William Wells Brown claimed that these laws cut only one way. Has the case ever occurred where the slaveholder has been sent to the state prison or anything of the kind for ill treating or for murdering a slave? Not such case is upon record. Right. So these devils, they didn't pay for what they've done to us. You know, they didn't pay for enslaving us, murdering us, killing us, ill treatment. Because see, you people have a disdain for slavery, but there's a righteous way to have slaves, and there's a wicked way to have slaves. The way the so-called white man treated us as slaves and continues to treat us today, that's a wicked way. That's not a righteous way to treat your slave or your servant, man. Okay? He had us building society up, and he just beat us down. He destroyed us, man. Okay, he didn't keep us healthy and well through the duration of this, man. Once we were no use to him, we were trash, man. Okay? And again, has anything happened to the so-called white man for what he did to us? No, it hasn't, man. But this is hatred. Us telling you, reading about it. You write these books. I didn't write this book. Okay? You write these books. But when we bring it up, we're a hate group. We're talking about white people. It ain't about white people. It's about you Edomites, man. Okay? You Edomites, man. If you go back to Edom, you're the devil, man. Point blank simple. Whether you a chocolate colored Edomite or a red Edomite, don't matter. You going into slavery, you're gonna be destroyed for what you and your forefathers have done to us, man. Point blank simple. Revelation 13:9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth in the captivity shall go into captivity. So you Edomites, you haven't went into captivity. You've had a perpetual hatred for us. It hasn't went anywhere. It hasn't waned. It hasn't gone nowhere. Hey, you're going into captivity, man. That's in the Bible. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. You Edomites, you killed us with the sword. You must be killed with the sword. Now, are we going to do that in this time? That's not for us to do that in this time. But in the kingdom of heaven, this is going to happen to you every day. It's going to be an everyday occurrence. It's not going to be news. It's not going to be a surprise. You're just going to be cut down, and you're going to be in perpetual slavery for 1,000 long years, man. Okay, you're going, you and the rest of these nations, man. But when you do something to somebody, you have to repay back what you've done, and that doesn't go nowhere. The Lord said He don't change. This is Malachi 3:6. For I am Yahweh, the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Right. So the Lord, He loved Jacob from the beginning. That's never changing. He hated Esau from the beginning. That's never changing. He still hates them. He loves Israel and He hates Edom. Point blank simple. His judgments are they're gonna go out, man. Okay. This is Isaiah 55:11. So shall my word deed that goeth forth out of my mouth, it shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. Right. And so the Lord, he proclaimed all these things that were going to happen to us in Deuteronomy 28:15 on down. They happened to us. They're happening to us today. But he also proclaimed the good that was going to happen to us. That's going to happen to us too. And he also proclaimed about the judgment of our enemies. When you read Jeremiah 30:16, when you read Revelation 13:9 and 10, when you read all these different scriptures where it tells you how the Lord's going to deal with you heathens, man. Ezekiel 25, the whole chapter. Okay. So the Lord changed not. It's going to happen. What you Edomites are trying to do, you're trying to avoid it. You're trying to cover up your outward hatred and trying to act like you didn't do anything wrong. Oh, I didn't do anything wrong. You know, you think I got to pay for my father's sins? Yes, you do, because you are your father in a reincarnation. Okay. And you're here for judgment. You ain't here to put on a seersucker suit and be sitting in front of a camera with your hair slicked to the side, no beard on your face, telling people about the weather. That ain't what you was set up for. You was sitting down here for judgment, man. The Lord just gave you an opportunity to live a little bit while he abide his time with you, man. Ultimately, you're going to be destroyed. Okay? This is Jeremiah 13:23. Can an Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good. Then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil. You Edomites, you're accustomed to doing evil. So there's no way that you can do good. You're accustomed to doing evil. All right. Ethiopian can't change his brown skin. A leopard can't change his spots, and neither can a man that is accustomed to doing evil do good. Okay. So again, has anything changed about this self-proclaimed white man from 1619 to 2019? No, nothing's changed. And this is an article from the Guardian.com, and it says overt racists are easy to spot. America's insidious racism is a greater challenge. It says racial terror and violence are built into the fabric of the country, and Trump has given license to white supremacy. It says, in the time of severe political strife in America, a rare show of bipartisanship occurred in the aftermath of the white nationalist march in Charlottesville, Virginia. Democrats and Republicans alike denounced the white tiki torch carrying racists while lambasting Donald Trump for his at best tepid remarks against the Nazi sympathizers. Trump argued that there were many sides to the turmoil, a comment that worked in defense of the racists. He issued stronger language 2 days later about evil before unleashing a day after that what he can only surmise as his true feelings about very fine people in the hate-mongering crowd. For his political foes and allies, condemning the violence, bile, and rhetoric about the death of a woman last week isn't courageous. It's basic decency, even when it is not wearing white Ku Klux Klan robes and racism. White supremacy is more than overt display of racial hatred, that's so true. That is so true. As seen in the last few days, it is a system in which white people dominate others and dominate society. They are the default settings. Let me read that again. It is a system in which white people dominate others and dominate society. And that's worse than overt racism, man. Because you Edomites, you have everything. There's nothing in this world that you didn't touch. There's nothing in this world that you didn't take. No one in this earth that you didn't kill. Okay. So it says they are default settings. If you like, they hold the power. Even if unwillingly. Institutional racism means that even if a white individual does not embrace a white supremacist view, it is very likely that that person benefits from the rigid system. And that's right. And that's why the Lord said this, Isaiah 14:21. It says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. Okay, so you Edomites, you're going to be destroyed, slaughter for you because of the iniquity of your forefathers, man. The reason why we're in this situation today, we were in this situation yesterday, is because of the iniquities of our forefathers. Because we could say the same thing. I wasn't in slavery. I didn't do anything. I just lived this life. Then why am I treated such? Why am I treated as a less of a person? Why am I people living in a systematic decay? Okay, if we're just here, if we're just here, but you're benefiting from what your forefathers done. You're an accessory after the fact. Okay, this is Sirach chapter 42, 41 verse 7. Sirach 41 verse 7. It says this, it says, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. And you Edomites, you're complaining about what your forefathers did, your ungodly forefather, because you're being reproached for their sake, man. And you hate it. You don't like it. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, I didn't have anything to do with that. But you're benefiting off of it. Even if you didn't want to, you're still doing it. A lot of these Edomites still come up, oh, I like so-called black people, or I like so-called Latino or Native American people. They're my friends. I don't have a racist bone in my body. But guess what? Like this article saying, even if you don't want to, you're still reaping the benefits, man. It says they hold power even if unwillingly. Institutional racism means that even if a white individual does not embrace a white supremacist view, it is very likely that that person benefits from a rigid system. A Swiss social media response to the image of Charlottesville was, "This is not us." Oh, yes, it is. That's right, man, because you're a bunch of devils, man. It said, "This is not us." Oh, yes, it is. America's original sin is racism. For black people need look no further than slavery to Jim Crow. And that's what we're doing. Did we not start in a book about slavery, and about the hatred that this devil had for you, man? It said, "This is not us. It is you, man." Hey, even the article cut you Edomites, man. It says, let me read that again. A swift social media response to the image out of Charlottesville was, "This is not us." Yeah, you saw them Edomites. Let me see if I can see this is not a hashtag. This is not us. Hashtag this is not. Hashtag this is not us. Salakia. Yeah, you got all these people in solidarity. Stop pretending your racism is patriotism. Yeah, this is not us. These simple ass niggas walking down the street. The problem with this is not us. So anyway, it says a swift social media response to the images out of Charlottesville was, "This is not us." Oh, yes, it is. America's original sin is racism. For black people need look no further than slavery to Jim Crow laws, to segregation, to today's not so invisible hands guiding housing and education policies, the wage gap, health disparities, how banks give loans. But all of this is part of the curses that was levied upon us by Yahweh Bashim Shai over 3,000 years ago, man. With the scriptures, with the Deuteronomy 28, man. Okay, that shows you that we're the Israelites, man. Because them banks, they don't loan to us, they loan to each other. And if you're lucky to get a loan, man, and I say that with a slight enthusiasm, little less enthusiasm. If you're lucky to get a loan, man, hey, man, count yourself lucky, bro. Okay. So Yeah, like the brother KDC says, Psalm 73:5, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. That's right. They set their mouth against the heavens and their tongue walketh through the earth. Yeah, he says he's God, man. If there's a God, he looks like him. If God has a son, his sons look like him. It says let me read that again. A Swiss social media response to the images out of Charlottesville was, "This is not us." Oh, yes, it is. America's original sin is racism for black people, which should say Israelites, because all Israelites are going through this. People need look no further than slavery to Jim Crow to segregation to today's not so invisible hands guiding housing and education policies, the wage gap, health disparities, how banks give loans. One could also add police brutality, food insecurity, and disinvestment in the black and brown communities. Why? Why the black and brown communities? We're the Israelites, man. It says white supremacy makes up the very fabric of the United States. Racial terror and violence are a central part of our story. Yeah, but then see, so we out here preaching the word. Here Esau want to say, "Oh, you guys are racist." We're not advocating violence on anybody. We're telling you what's going to happen according to the scriptures in the future, in a not so distant future. To you heathens, to you Edomites, okay, to 2/3 of our people on this side that want to side with you. But guess what? That's all we're doing. But you're the ones, you're the heads of racial terror and violence, man. Hey, this is Obadiah 1:6. Obadiah 1:6. So a Fox News interview with an Israelite is supposed to have you thinking that white folks love you, man. Like these people will put you before themselves. Hell no, man. Hell no, man. Hell no. Let me keep reading this till this pops up. Salakia. So this is reading on. It says white supremacy makes up the very fabric of the United States. Racial terror and violence are a central part of the story. An interesting exercise is to compare footage of last weekend's racial attacks and that of the 1960s. At a first glance, the only real difference is that the latter was filmed in black and white. Right. And that's the thing. That's again, what has changed? Has a so-called white man said, you know what, man, after all that I did in the 1960s and before that, I'm sorry for it. I just want to change it. Let me fix it. Let's fix it. Help me fix it. Hell no, man. They just want deeper and deeper into their wickedness, man. This is Obadiah 1:10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. So you Edomites, they've shown us nothing but violence. It's shame is going to cover them. This is for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover you, man. So that Obadiah, man, that's a cut for all you Edomites, man. Okay, the scripture also say you're gonna have shameful spewing, man, for your glory. So it says the only difference is that the latter was filmed in black and white. Beyond our wider, deeper societal issues, what has been particularly odd is how surprised many have been in the past week by Trump's response and his implicit nod to white supremacist groups. The idea that he has a blustery political neophyte, rough around the edges, who would clean up his racial language once in the White House has never made any sense. Up until Friday, ultra right-wing media executive white nationalist Steve Bannon served as the White House chief strategist. But I'll tell you who's not surprised by Trump's actions. Black people, especially black women. 94% of black women voted for Hillary Clinton, the highest figure among any demographic. Because a nigga woman is simple, man. She think because a woman got some titties in her ass that she like you, but Hillary Clinton hates you just as much as Donald Trump, man. It says Trump hardly hid what kind of president he would be on racial matters. He publicly revealed to the nation his leanings for decades. Yeah, because he's been groomed for decades too, man. Maya Angelou, the African-American poet, memorist, and civil rights activist, once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Right, but you Jakes, you don't believe. You don't believe that this man doesn't doesn't hate you, man. You don't believe in enough. Oh, white people could never do that. Oh, government, they love us. You know, why would they do that? Wow, that doesn't make any sense. And you got Jake out here fucking hard charging for Esau. You know, you got Jake out here, you know, with your MAGA hat on. You niggas are just simple as fuck, man. You know, you just simple, man. Make America great again. It's a party. All that shit. I did a video about them Jakes that did that shit. And the Lord's gonna kill every last one of them niggas, man. Every last one of them niggas are gonna be destroyed, man. Hillary Clinton is more unstable than Trump. Yeah. Yeah, you got a I think I did a video about these black Magna college students. Black Make America great again. At the White House. These niggas thought it was a fucking party. Yeah, look at this shit. These niggas, you got Jake, they simple as fuck, man. They really believe that Esau has their better, what's the word I'm looking for? Their betterment at hand. You know, these niggas, they're gonna die, man. The Lord's gonna kill each and every last one of these Jakes that are all excited. Let me see something. Yeah. The lock here. I did a video about it. It was on World Star. Black Magna College students. Black college students. White House. The lock here. The lock here. And these niggas is on YouTube, World Star, jumping up and down like it was a fucking party, man. Waiting for Trump to come out there, man. Let me see. Yeah, I think it was this one right here. Hold on, brothers. I was just looking for this video. Yeah, it's right here. It was on World Star a minute ago, like last year, October last year. But it just shows you the mindset of Jake, man. And they really believe that this man has his best interest, but really, he can't stand you, man. He don't like you. He don't want to be he don't want to be in your presence. He don't want you in his presence. Only reason why he's dealing with you because he's abiding his time, because we're in a racially sensitive time. But now things are starting to heat up where he don't give a fuck. He's showing you straight up that he hates you, man. I'll just show the still. I ain't gotta play the video. Watch these niggas. But this is the picture of the nigga. He's Make America Great Again. When America was great, you niggas was in slavery. We was reading about that. When America was great, you were being oppressed, burnt, hanged, okay, castrated, all right, raped, all right. I'm talking about the men of Israel and the women, but I'm talking about the men. You so-called Negroes here, man. But you support this kind of wickedness, man. You support Esau. You keep this place going, man. These niggas talking about some gang. You know, these supposed to be college students, man. Conservatives, man. Black college students turning up to Kendrick Lamar, going crazy at the leadership, Trump's Young Black Leadership Summit, man. Probably gave them niggas McDonald's and everything. Yeah, these niggas right here. You know? Because niggas are simple, man. Niggas are simple. Signs up, you know, Frank signs up. Niggas are simple, man.
I don't know, man. We just wanted to let y'all know the red wave is real. We out here. Whole lot of gang stuff. Y'all know what I want to say first. Mac, gang.
You see? Simple ass nigga. Niggas are simple as shit, man. Turn up, turn up, turn up. All right. Let me see. These niggas, they believe that Esau has changed. He's, you know, he basically changed, man. He's clean now. He's good now, man. Hey, man, this is Sirach chapter 20, verse 25. A thief is better than a man that is accustomed to lie, but they both shall have destruction to heritage, man. So it says a thief is better than a man that is accustomed to lie. And that's Esau. He's both of these things. But they both shall have destruction to heritage. And Esau, he's about to have obstruction to his heritage, man. And this is Sirach 23 and 15. It says the man that is accustomed to opprobrious words will never be reformed all the days of his life. And now look up that word opprobrious. Okay, opprobrious, and it says expressing scorn or criticism, abusive, vituperative, derogatory, disparaging, pejorative. And that Edomite, he asked to Jake, "Oh, does your nationality disparage against other racial groups?" Yeah, it does. It does. It says that the Israelites are better than all the nations upon the face of the earth. Okay, but Esau, he takes that as a slight against him, because according to him, he doesn't do that, but he does do that. It says a slanderous, libelous, spurious, scandalous, okay, defamatory. That's Esau. So again, it says a man that is accustomed to opprobrious words will never be reformed all the days of his life. So Esau can never be reformed. So for you Jakes to jump up and down and talk about you gonna be all right, you out of your fucking mind. You are dumb. You are stupid. Simple. Waiting on a white man to come. Yeah, but you don't understand. You saying build that wall. And then these are the people that killed Yahushua, man. These niggas right here, man. Look at a black woman screaming out of her fucking mouth like she don't know what the fuck's going on. Look at this nigga and his simple ass look on his face. They should be ashamed of themselves, man. But these are the niggas that believe that the white man is changed, and as soon as he bring all hell on you, man, it's over for you niggas, man.
We at the White House right now. Turn around. Hey!
Niggas, man. Like monkeys.
And you know what? Obama didn't invite us when he was the damn president.
It is simple ass niggas.
How y'all doing?
Simple ass niggas, man. They treat the nigga like he's God, man. And that's the thing. You think this man has changed, man. So let me go back to this article, man. It says when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And usually you black bitches, you use that for Jake. You don't use that for the white man. You give him all kinds of chances, man. Meanwhile, in this book, real quick, let me read this real quick out of this book, The Great Stain. It says, back to where I was reading this book, it says, William Wallace Brown claimed that these laws cut only one way. Has the case ever occurred where the slaveholder has been sent to the state prison or anything of that kind for ill treating or for murdering the slave? No such case is upon record. This was not quite true. For example, in December 1839 in North Carolina, a man called Hoover was put on trial for the murder of his slave named Myra. Through a period of 4 months, including the latter stages of pregnancy, delivery, and recent recovery therefrom, he beat her with clubs, iron chains, and other deadly weapons. Time after time, burnt her, inflicted stripes over and often with scourges, which literally excoriated her whole body, forced her out to work in inclement weather without being duly clad, provided for her insufficient food, exacted labor beyond her strength, and wantonly beat her because she could not comply with his requisitions. These enamorities, besides others too disgusting to particularly designated, without his heart once relenting. It said without his heart's one relenting. So this nigga, he didn't show no mercy. He didn't show Jake no mercy. And you think this kind of thing is still is dissipated? Hell no. James 2:13. James 2:13. This dude was a demon, man. Esau is a straight up fucking demon, bro. Hoover. You got niggas running around, I'm a Hoover Crip. The name of the Edomite. Hoover Street's name of the Edomite. Probably this dude's descendant, man. This shit is crazy, bro. It said the nigga says he did not relax even up to the last hour of his victim's existence, man. So he was just going in on her, man. But this same chick, she's back today supporting Esau, man, or her people. It is James 2:13. For he shall have judgment without mercy, that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoice against judgment. So you Edomites, you're not going to get no mercy in the kingdom of heaven, man. You're not going to get no mercy. You screaming mercy down here, all we doing is preaching the word of the Lord, man. Can you imagine when the Lord put hands on you, man? You through. It says, these enormities, besides others too disgusting to be particularly designated, without his heart once relenting, he did not relax even up to the last hour of his victim's existence. Hoover's excuses were that she stole his turnips and sold them to the worthless people in the neighborhood, and that she had attempted to burn his barn and was disobedient and impudent to her mistress. Hoover was convicted, but such cases were rare. So you Edomites, you never faced any judgment for the hell that you put on us, man. You ain't face no judgment. You ain't changed, man. You still the same old dirty E, man. Y'all remember that song from what's that nigga? What's his nigga name? The nigga Genuine, the same OG. Even though I might be on TV, maybe I was something on B. There ain't no change in me, the same OG. Well, you the same old E, man. You the same old E, man. The same old, ain't nothing changed, man. Ain't nothing changed but the weather, man. It says Trump hardly hid what kind of president he would be on racial matters. He publicly revealed to the nation his leanings for decades. Indeed, he jumped into the political fray via birthism. What is birthism? What is that? Birthism. The absurd conspiracy theory that about that dude the Trump, the birth of lie. Salakia. Salakia. It says birthism. What was that? The absurd conspiracy theory that questioned President Barack Obama's citizenship. Trump swung from one media outlet to another, declaring Obama's birth certificate was fake, therefore disqualifying him for president. He gained traction by disparaging the country's first black president with a fanciful and noxious allegation. Trump curated his own reality show existence on television. He has consistently used mass media to hype his position as a New York property developer, and in the context of his shaping of himself, he may have dated interracially and hobnobbed with black celebrities, but in his business, he was no stranger to racial conflict. In 1973, the U.S. Justice Department sued Trump and his father for alleged racial discrimination in the New York housing development. They settled the case, but African Americans said that the Trumps would not rent them apartments. In 1989, the same year, he had a cameo along with Trump Tower in 1989 music video for R&B singer Bobby Brown. The future president took out 4-page newspaper ads demanding the return of the death penalty. A white woman was raped and beaten in Central Park. 5 black and Hispanic men were accused. Their convictions were overturned after DNA evidence vindicated them, but there was no public apology from Trump. Later on the presidential campaign trail, Trump threw no shortage of racial daggers Mexicans were described as bad hombres, rapists, and criminals. He chose hell as a way of painting black and Latino urban neighborhoods, which it is hell, man. He often that's why we're in hell. This is the condition. He often picks on Chicago, my hometown, and Obama's as a pit of crime, which it is. All the while, he maintains the rhetorical position that he is the least racist person that you've ever encountered. This is a man, it needs to be remembered, who refused to denounce white nationalist David Duke. Okay, so this showing you that their hatred towards you, it's not changed, man. This is the word for covert racism. Covert racism is a form of racial discrimination that is disguised as subtle. Did not the Lord say that this man was more subtle than any beast of the field? Lock in. The any beast of the field, okay? Rather than public or obvious, concealed in the fabric of society. And that shows you that this man has not changed. Covert racism discriminates against individuals through often evasive and seemingly passive methods. Covert racially biased decisions are often hidden or rationalized with the explanation that society is more willing to accept. These racial biases cause a variety of problems that work to empower the suppressors while diminishing the rights and power of the oppressed. And the oppressed are Israel, man. We're the oppressed, man. We're the oppressed. Job 14:4. Who can bring Job 14:4? Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean thing? Not one. And Esau, he's unclean by his leper. Esau's unclean by his leprosy, his wickedness. He's just unclean, man. So he can't be made clean, man. He's always going to be unclean, man. All right? And that's the truth. That's the truth. All right? It says the suppressor, while diminishing the rights and powers of the oppressed. Covert racism often works subliminally, and often much in the discrimination is being done subconsciously. George M. Fredrickson states that racism possesses a generative force more powerful than mere class or caste self-interest alone, and is suspicious of arguments that discount matters of ideology through the culture and overvalue those of the extinct habit, man. Okay, so you can't hide just because you go from overt to covert. Overt is more outwardly known, where they was yelling at you, calling you a nigga, you know, hanging you and shit. Now it's more covert, man. Okay, and again, America made a lot of money off of the backs of slaves, man. America's first big business, not the railroad, but slavery, man. Slavery was a big business for this place, man. Okay, and in slavery, they used our women as wet nurses, man. I wanted to bring that out because that's a form of servitude, man. So I looked up this term, wet nurse. If it's still up here, I'll bring it up. If not, cool. Yeah, wet nurse. When you type in wet nurse, it says a woman employed to suckle another woman's child. You Edomites, you lived all because of us, man. Because our women were wet nurses to your children, man. Okay, you got pictures of the Israelite woman breastfeeding Esau, keeping them alive. Okay, you got another Israelite woman right here breastfeeding an Edomite, keeping it alive. Okay, you got Jake, and it's spiritual too, right? You got Jake on the right hand side of the breast, and you got Esau on the left hand side, man. That's spiritual in itself, man. Because you Edomites, this is how Rebecca was taking care of Jacob and Esau, man. Okay, keeping you alive, man. She got her own children, but she got to be a servant to you, man. And you Edomite women, you're just as wicked as your foremothers, man. You're gonna pay too, man. Okay. This is This is what is that? It's an article. It says a mother's milk, slavery, wet nursing, and black and white women in the antebellum South. I'll go straight to the point. It says this it says it says the evocative image of an enslaved wet nurse carefully holding a white child to her breast in order to provide sustenance through her own milk, therefore holds much resonance with the historians interested in the gender slavery and relationship between black and white women in the antebellum South. Wet nursing bound women together across the racial divide, and white women also sometimes wet nurse enslaved infants. Yet, ultimately, white women use wet nursing as a tool to manipulate enslaved women's motherhood for slaveholders' own ends. Yeah, so she manipulated. Look, I'm not going to tear my breast up. I'll let those slave women do it, man. You know, the article evaluates the patterns of wet nursing in the antebellum South by locating the practice along spectrum of gendered exploitation, where enforced wet nursing sits at one end, women's paid employment of professional wet nurse exists somewhere in the middle, and the informal networks of support where women share their breast milk lie at the other. Women in the antebellum South practice forms of wet nursing across the spectrum, inextricably linked with ideologies of race, ethnicity, and class. Historical pattern and exploitative wet nursing have shaped contemporary distaste for the practice within the medical profession. Elsewhere, even though informal networks of shared breastfeeding for which little evidence survives. So yeah, man, I'm just saying, like, it just shows you, here it is, the same devil that hated you exploited you for your sustenance, man, for him to stay alive and not die, man. Where's that picture at right here? Yeah, like Rebecca, Jacob, and Esau, man. You know, yeah, but like I said, it's spiritual that devil's on the left hand side, man, because that's where he comes from, man. He comes from the left, and Jake comes from the right, man. The right hand side of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to show that, you know, Esau, his wickedness hasn't changed. This nigga's still a devil. He's gonna be the devil until he's destroyed, man. And he's accustomed to doing wickedness, and he cannot do any righteousness. I'll leave y'all with one last scripture. This is Salaki. This is Isaiah 26 and 10. Isaiah 26 and 10. It says, "Let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly and will not behold the majesty of the Lord, Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai." So favor has been shown to this devil, but he can't learn righteousness, man. He's incapable of righteousness, man. In the land of uprightness over there in Israel, he's dealing unjustly, man. He's dealing unjustly. Salaki, where's that picture at? Yeah, he's dealing unjustly, okay? And he's not going to behold the majesty of the Lord, man. Okay? When he sees the Lord, his head is going to be bent down, man. He's going to be broken in 1,000 pieces, man. Okay, when he sees the men of the Lord, he's going to see their feet, man. He's not going to behold the majesty of the Lord, man. He can't behold righteousness, understand righteousness, because he's accustomed to doing wickedness, man. So I hope brothers were edified. You know, again, what has changed about the self-proclaimed white man from 1619 to 2019? Nothing at all, man. So with that, all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Wahawah Kakodash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone for teachers' word and truth and sincerity and for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim. Keep pushing, keep striving. We're almost out of here. Shalom.
Shalom. First and foremost, call Loyim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Baruch HaKodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that tell us this truth. Much love, greetings, and salutations to the tabernacle of David, the hopeful elect. Now, I just want to do a response lesson, or video, I should say, in response to this video here. It's titled, "The Awful Price Venezuela Will Be Forced to pay under U.S. rule. All right, and this is by Florida Maquis, in which he basically goes into if this government is actually overthrown and taken over by the U.S., which this new Manchurian candidate that they're trying to oppose over the current regime of Venezuela, he's basically a puppet leader for the U.S. and the Zionist Israel vaccine. All right, the EU, the beast vaccine. All right, and what that means is if they all got that eye on you, then that means you got something that they want, and they're willing to use the force of the sword to take it from you. But what those Zionists do, those Amalekites, what they do is when they need something, or when they want to siege a land that has resources that they want a monopoly on, they send their bitch, all right, which is the great whore that rides the beast. They send her as their muscle, as their sword, to go and basically destabilize, and they cause dissension by creating these opposing forces, creating coups and militias to go in and sabotage their government, and basically they use that to turn the citizens of the people against their very own government. And now those Venezuelans are convinced that their own leader is actually responsible for their economic condition, as opposed to the sanctions that's being placed upon their the corporations, which their industries is basically dealing with oil. Their economy has been great off of the oil that they sit upon. But Esau wants a hand in the oil market, okay? And they want to basically take over Citgo, which is one of those is basically their main corporation that supplies oil. All right, and at least 6,000 gas stations in the U.S., they actually get supplied through that company of that oil. Okay, so basically the U.S. wants a hand on that. They want to actually take that for themselves. So this is what this is about: them taking down our government so they can have a monopoly on the oil markets down there in Venezuela. All right, and what comes with that, which I'm gonna play the clip. He basically goes into how if these Venezuelans, if they're really going to choose this puppet over their current leader, who actually fairly was voted twice into his position, then these are the things that they're going to have to deal with. All right, these are the prices that they're going to have to pay if they accept this puppet leader to actually rule over their country. All right, so let me play the video, and then I'm gonna get a few scriptures.
Very heavy price that they're not going to tell you about right away.
Hold on, let me back it up, and then I'm gonna just play it.
Your grocery stores. A lot of you will be real excited to know that when the U.S. shows up, they're going to be bringing all sorts of trailer loads of groceries to refill your grocery stores.
Yeah, such as genetically modified organism, all right, GMOs, because that's what America produces. Okay. Meanwhile, these other countries, they can actually grow their own food. All right, but Esau uses military and starve you out, and then if he takes over, he can start exporting his GMOs to your country. Okay, he could start bringing all type of poison over to your nation. Okay, so this is one of the things that you will have to deal with if you allow for the U.S. to take over. So let's continue.
And all sorts of dollars to dollarize your economy. They will make sure.
Yep, they're gonna basically make the dollar the standard instead of their currency, because Venezuela, they've been coming up with different ways to bypass the petrodollar. All right, They have created their own currency that deals with oil, and any type of country that have its own sovereign government that deals with currency that's backed by things of substance like gold, silver, or gold, then the U.S. feels threatened by that, so they have the need to go in and basically destabilize that government and take out the leader. And what they'll do, of course, like they've always done, is demonize that particular leader and call him a tyrant, a dictator. Okay, they did it to Gaddafi, they did it to Saddam Hussein. Okay, and Maduro is no different. Okay, and there's many other examples. This is how Esau. This is how he does it. Okay, he's only going to do this because he won't what what you got, and he feel that it's his. Okay, so he's going to come in and he's going to basically bring the sword with him, and the first thing he's going to do is get you to either submit and drink the potion, drink the wine, become Americanized and submit yourself to American policy, or face the sword, his military. All right, that's what he's known to do. All right, and he goes all throughout the world and do just that. All right, so let's continue.
That your gas stations have fuel, and life will seem as if it's getting back to normal. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the U.S. has that capability, but it's going to come at a price. It's going to come at a very heavy price that they're not going to tell you about right away. See, these four individuals here have something in store for you that they're not rolling out right away. Random guy named Juan in the upper right. We have his wanted criminal representative here in the United States, Carlos Vecchio. We have in the lower left, Enrique Capriles Radonsky, the Ashkenazi Jew that lost a very close election to Nicolas Maduro 6 months after having lost a not-so-close election to Hugo Chavez before he passed on. And, of course, their controller, Marco Rubio, Senator Marco Rubio from Florida. Now, what is that thing that they have in store for you waiting? Well, it's this. You see, there's a fundamental difference between the right wing and the left wing in North America and the right wing and the left wing in South America. See, believe it or not, Americans that are still with me, the left wing in South America isn't like our left wing here. See, our left wing promotes this kind of crap. Our left wing is all about the progressive, New World Order crap that teaches kindergartners about condoms and all this kind of stuff, but they are not all about this.
Yeah, and that's Babylon forcibly forcing that wine down these nations' throat. All right, they're gonna come with that whole new liberal world order poison, which all of the degeneracy and the immorality that goes on here, and that's part of this man's philosophy. It's gonna be pushed wherever he wants to go in the world. He's gonna enforce that, man, and if you don't comply with that, if you don't live by those standards, if you don't live by his wine, his philosophy, he's going to demonize you. Just like they're doing us. All right? And they're going to demonize that government, and they're going to say, well, he has no business ruling over a people. This guy is dangerous. He's a tyrant. Okay? He's not fit to be a ruler over these people. Esau want to, try to play hero, man. When it's really he's being a damn terrorist. He'll try to find an excuse to be a hero, but really he's really going around terrorizing people, man. Okay? So this is what part of that price that Venezuela will have to pay, man. So you ready for your children to start learning about being a transsexual? To embrace homosexuality, man? To put the book away, put that Bible out, You know, even though this hypocritical nation was funded on religion using the Bible, all right, but they're going to come to you and basically tell you to get rid of the moral principles of that Bible, and you need to succumb to the wine that we want to pour down your neck. All right, that's part of the Babylonian wine that got a lot of these nations that are in alliance with the U.S. All right, that's that wine, man. All right, when you partner up with the U.S., man, to some degree you will become Americanized. You will pick up on the influences and the ways of this wicked ass place, and that's what they're gonna bring to Venezuela if they allow this puppet to come down there, man, and basically replace the current regime of Venezuela. All right, Esau is using this dude as a pawn, man. I'm talking about the wine guy, the wine guy who looked like a Hispanic Obama, man. That dude was a straight up Manchurian candidate, man. He probably got a chip in his head or something. Okay, and the Venezuelan government, they had the military backs them, so they ain't gonna go without a fight. So it's gonna be a bloodbath down there, man. It's gonna be war. And Esau, the scriptures say he's not satisfied with blood. There's nothing in his sight to shed blood. And he's shed blood down there before. Down in Central America, man, with during the banana wars. Okay? So I mean, it's only being reoccurring. Okay? They want those oil markets down there. But as they do that, they also want to impose, you know, their wine, their philosophy upon them. All right, using this particular leader, he's going to introduce this Americanization to these Venezuelans, which those Venezuelans, those are Israelites, man. Now you got Edomites down there too, our conquistadors, Spaniards, but a lot of those people are down there, man. Those the indigenous people of that land. That's the tribe of Asher, man. All right. So this is part of that price. Okay, you're gonna have to denounce Christianity, and you're gonna have to deal with the American way, which is to be a goddamn deviant. All right, with no morals. Okay. So let me get a few scriptures. All right. This is Habakkuk 2. Let me jump up some verses. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. It says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine," all right, which is his wayward philosophy, man, his so-called progressivism, you know, his liberalism. Okay, that's part of his wine, man, his democracy. Okay, to get you to be an American in spirit. Okay, it says he is a proud man, and this talking about Esau, neither keepeth at home. So even the lands that he already has control over, that's not enough. He wants more. Okay, he wants more because he's a greedy devil. All right, he has an insatiable desire, man. It can never be appeased. But the reason why he feels that way is because of going back to the blessing. When Isaac blessed him, the Lord told him that you will be blessed with the fatness of the earth. So you better believe anywhere where there's fatness, which that fatness represents riches of the land, substance. All right, the main factor being oil. And we gonna matter of fact, I'm gonna get that scripture, but let me finish this real quick. It says, "Who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathered unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people." That means he wants to basically take control over all lands, so that all the people in those lands will come up under his hegemony. and make everything one world government instead of sovereign governments. All right? Everybody to come together under him, under his rulership. Okay? The Tower of Babel, with him being at the top of that tower. This is Esau, man. Okay? It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. And down there in Venezuela, you know, you got half the people that mirrors that same sentiment, but then you got the other half who are being brainwashed by the media, which is Esau's witchcraft, his deception. And they basically believe that it's Maduro that's responsible for the economic crisis that's going on. They ain't even looking at the actual enemy who's really responsible. The reason why y'all not able to send out oil is because America is sanctioning Venezuela to where they can't send their exports of oil out. Okay? The main purchasers of their oil is penalizing them. All right? So, you know, that's what's happening, man. They squeezing them high and dry, putting pressure to them so they can take over. Okay? And so basically Esau is increasing what doesn't belong to him. All these lands and resources, man. All right, you leave it up to Esau. Nobody should have the ownership of anything. Nobody should have their own resources. Nobody should have their own land. Everything should just belong to him. He should just put his name on everything. This is what Esau is doing. Okay? So that's what's going on. It says, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right, which, you know, that goes into the heavy debt that the US has buried itself in. All right? Because you know, the US is that damn greedy, man, for glory. So when you go down, this is verse 15. It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and maketh him drunken also. Yeah, and what's in that cup, that bottle, that wine, man. All right, that Americanization, that filth. Okay, that's what's in there, man. Okay, and this whore of Babylon, or the great whore, anywhere, any land, any government she wants to go to actually conquer, you know, she'll come and seduce them, you know, with that wine. Okay, and if he doesn't comply, if he basically turn away that cup and he doesn't want none of that wine, then she pulls out the sword, which is her military, and force you to lay down. All right, that's why this place is known as the hammer of the earth, man. All right, when you read Jeremiah, I believe the 50th chapter. So she'll put that bottle to you and make you become drunk off of her poison. All right, you denounce your cultures and your moral beliefs, and you take on the American spirit, man. And then once you get drunken by that, now people can look on your nakedness. Now you're exposed to wickedness. Okay. Now in Venezuela, you're seeing rainbow flags. You're seeing sex changes. All right, abortions, GMOs. You know, all type of filth, man. Okay. But if you put up a fight and don't want to drink, then she's gonna try to wage war with you. All right, and that's what America's been successful with. All right, when it comes to you know, basically invading lands and you know, enforcing their democracy and their religion, and all their philosophy upon these different nations, setting up military bases, embassies. Okay, because Babylon is a major force, and this is why all these different nations. You have certain nations that are sobering up from that intoxication, and they want to wage war with Babylon, man. I.e., China. Okay. This is Jeremiah 51:7. It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. All right, meaning they're intoxicated. All right, intoxicated with Americanization. All right, Western philosophy. Okay. Hey, and it's no different than when Esau went around Hellenizing the world during the Hellenist period of the Greeks. All right, everybody had to fall in line with the Greek empire. You had to speak Greek. You had to keep the Greek fashion, dress like a Greek. Basically don't wear beer on your face. You had to eat swine. All right. Practice in the gymnasium, which is basically you walk around naked. There's nothing new under the sun, man. Esau, he's always been this way. All right. But if you don't comply, he will come to your doorstep, and this is what he'll do. This is Micah 2, and verse 2. It says, "And they covet fields, and they take them by violence, with the force of the sword, and houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man." All right, and the current man that's in rule of Venezuela. All right, who's from Venezuela. All right, who's common with the citizens of Venezuela. Okay, who served his own country. They're coming for him. They're oppressing him right now. They're trying to boot him out of his seat. Okay, it says, so they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Okay, and this is what Esau has been known to do. Basically since he came out of them caves, out of the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia. And he came out of those caves, and spewed out his venom and basically deceived the whole planet during his renaissance and rebirth of the ancient Roman Empire. All right, this is what he did. All right, and he feels entitled. All right, your possession, your heritage, Esau feels entitlement to, especially if it has gold. All right, precious minerals. Okay, copper, and most off oil. All right, because oil that's considered a luxury item, man. You make so much money. That's why you think all these other nations are all trying to get in on this Venezuelan oil market right now, man. These nations are all divided and damn near about to fight over splitting this oil, man. You got Russia and China on one end saying, "Hey, don't you meddle with that." We investing in that. We got billions of dollars worth invested in that. But on the other side, you got the U.S. and the European countries and Amalek over there in Israel. They're basically saying, "Nah, man, nah. We need that. We need that. That's us." All right. And Esau. This is Now matter of fact, let me go to that, dealing with the blessing of Esau real quick, just to put it in perspective. All right, this is the reason why Esau goes so hard body against all these different countries that are actually oil producing countries. All right, this is Genesis 27:39. It says, "And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live." All right, so when you read fatness of the earth, it's talking about the land's resources, predominantly the oil. And the Hebrew word is mashaman, all right, which the root word is shaman, which means oil. All right, anointing oil. All right, it says fatness, fat piece, fertile place. Just like the Middle East is a fertile place, and that's why it's surrounded by bodies of water. It also has lands filled with rich soil and also oil. Okay, which is why over there in Syria, you know, you had Russia against the U.S. fighting over those pipelines that would go through those lands. All right, so that's why they're over there fighting for that fertile area, because it's rich and is rich and oriented, man. Okay, you can make good money. All right, it says richly prepared food, fatness, fat pieces, oil. Okay, olive oil, fatness. Okay, so basically, the blessing was that Esau would be promised the fatness of the earth. So that means anywhere where there's any riches and substance of the earth, Esau is going to feel entitled, because that's part of his blessing. All right, and of the dew of the heaven from above, man. So everything that yields, he's going to have that monopoly upon. Okay, that's what this is all about, and he's willing to wage war against everybody to have that full control. And then he was also what? Blessed with the sword, and by thy sword shall thou live. So he's going to live by the gun. He's going to live by his military, his armies. Okay, and that's how he maintains his control, his power, through the force of the sword, waging war, man. And as long as he's in power, that's pretty much how he knows how to maintain himself. And that's why there's not going to be peace until he be taken down. When you read Revelation 6 and 4, was it 4? Where it tells you about that red horse, it said a sword was given to him to take peace from the earth, and that he would wage war. Okay, that's why the Middle East, there's no peace. All right, he's disquieting all type of nations over there. He's the reason why there's an arms race of nuclear arsenals. U.S. pulling out of the INF treaty, and now supposedly the U.S. is trying to create a nuclear missile, man. Basically, to counter Russia's aggression. So this thing is about to lead to war, man, over the fatness of the earth's resources, man. All over Esau's greed, World War III is going to happen. You know? All these different reservoir dogs trying to fight to get a piece. And they all going to wind up destroying each other, you know, trying to, you know, get their hand in it, man. All right? So, let me finish this verse, and then I'm going to get the other scripture. Because there's a reason why they're down there in Venezuela, you know, messing with them now, all right? It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Meaning Esau will eventually revolt from the rule, the dominion of Judah. Okay, and that happened in history when you read in the Book of Kings. You know, after Solomon fell, after the kingdom split, you know, Esau basically started to revolt back against Israel. All right, and we all know from there on out, Esau had a perpetual hatred. All right, every captivity that we went under, Esau always been a helping hand and helping to lead us into captivity. And then eventually we were led into his captivity for him to rule over us, and we saw, you know, what that entailed. All right, hundreds of years of heartache, pain, you know, misery, brutality, hostility, okay, abuse, oppression, even to this very day. But guess what? The Lord's going to take the yoke from off of our neck that he has on us, and we're going to rule over him. And we're going to do everything that he's done unto us, unto him, and double. All right? So let's go from there and let's deal with the tribe of Asher, which is those Venezuelans are of the tribe of Asher. Now, when you read this prophecy about Asher, let's take a look. It says Deuteronomy 33:24. It says, and of Asher he said, let Asher be blessed with children. All right, so they have a very high populous nation. All right, they have a huge population. All right, that's why they fill majority of South America. Okay, it says, let Asher be blessed with children, let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. Okay, that's where the oil is at. Okay, that's the fat. Esau wants that the fat that Asher is got his feet in, man. All right, he's stepping in that fat, man. They chilling in that fat. All right, but what's ironic is look what they're suffering. They're they suffering hyperinflation, man. They can't even afford to buy food. All right, their medicine is scarce thanks to Esau. Esau is basically stripping them of that, man. Okay, you have the country that has is rich, have the most they're the most rich in oil than every other country on the planet, and yet they're suffering poverty, man, starvation. Well, that's what Esau would that's what he would resort to get his hand on something that doesn't belong to him. But he feels entitled going back to that blessing. All right, the fatness of the earth, man. Okay, that's what the oil is. Okay, that's shaman. Okay, shaman. All right, that ointment. And what do you have in the definition? Fatness. So that's the reason why Esau is aiming for Asher right now. Okay. Now we're gonna see what happens because Lord willing, man, this brings forth World War III, man, where Russia and China finally, put their foot down. Okay. And they go and they head into this world's war and it turns into a nuclear holocaust. And Israel finally get delivered and saved up out of this madness, man. This captivity. Okay. And Esau is not going to swallow down those riches that he think that he's going to get. All right. Because the Lord is going to require how you got everything. Okay. This is Sirach 10, and I'm going to leave it with this. All right. Sirach 10 and 8, it says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. All right. What he's doing right now to Venezuela, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And that's why the Lord is going to overturn this man's kingdom. And he's going to set up the nation of Israel in the kingdom of heaven. And that's when Yahushua is going to come back and destroy, put a foot up this devil's ass and basically return the reign to the nation of Israel under his throne. Okay. And we can't wait. All right. And we ain't going to have to ever worry about this devil coming to terrorize other people's lands and their nation, and enforcing his demonic left hand way upon people to subdue them so he can basically steal their land and their resources, man. All right. He's the reason why the earth is in mourning. But that's why it tells you in Proverbs 29, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. And the earth is going to rejoice when we return to rulership. All right. Does say up the Bible. All right. So I just want to do a response lesson, to this video. All right. You brothers can watch it. I'll try to post a link in the description box. And this Edomite, which he sounds like an Edomite, I'm not sure if he is or not, but he makes solid videos, going into these different events that are taking place, all right, geopolitically and economically. So hopefully this was edifying. I want to say call Allah Yahweh Shem Yahushai and Shalom Barakatam to the Tabernacle of David, the hopeful elect. Shalom.